Good evening. I'm calling a regular meeting today for City of Dilley City Council, July 8th, 2025. Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Dilley, Texas will conduct a regular meeting on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall Convention Center Building located at 116 East Miller, Dilley, Texas 78017. The following items to be considered: one, call meeting to order. We call meeting order at 6:34 p.m. Roll call, please.
Everardo Castillo Jr., City Council, Place 1.
Eric Aranda, City Council, place number 2.
Alice Manchado, place 3.
Ray Aranda, place 4.
Rudy Alvarez, Councilman, place 5.
Natasha Prado, City Secretary.
Henry Arredondo, City Administrator.
Thank you, and also welcome guests, employees, fire department, Dilley PD, and families. Thank you all for joining us this evening. If we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States and the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Invocation, please.
Heavenly Father, we come before you today with gratitude for the opportunity to serve our community. We ask for your wisdom and guidance as we discuss matters that impact the lives of our citizens. May our decisions be made with integrity, fairness, and a deep commitment to the well-being of all. Bless our leaders with clarity of thought, patience in discussion, and unity in purpose. May this meeting be productive, respectful, and filled with a spirit of collaboration. We pray for the strength to uphold justice, the courage to make difficult choices, and the compassion to serve with humility. May your presence be with us as we work together for the betterment of Dilley. Amen.
Citizens to be heard. This is the opportunity for citizens, visitors, and guests to address the City Council on any issue or any item of the agenda in compliance with LGC Section 551.007. City Council may not discuss any presented issue, nor may any action be taken on any issue at this time. Citizens to be heard are limited to 3 minutes each. Attorney General Opinion, JC-0169. We do have one citizen to be heard, Griselda Salcedo. Go ahead, ma'am. And can you press the button?
Okay,
Thank
I'm
you.
here to the same different things. We need our sewer in our 3808 Country Road. We have water leaks that haven't been taken care of. And then the item number 16 that you're gonna discuss, I wanna ask you to consider, when you talk about an emergency, consider yourself, if you have grandchildren or children, how would you feel if a aggressive dog was chasing your special need child, your elder parent? When you talk about that, number 16, okay? Think about what is an emergency to you if you had a child being chased by an aggressive dog. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Salcedo. We have our attorney present today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name's Austin Beck. I'm filling in for Molly Solis this evening. And it's a city attorney role. So if y'all have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Moving on to consent agenda, discuss, consider, and act on the following items. A, approve minutes of the June 10, 2025 regular meeting. B, review of city bills. C, approve employee incentives for the month of June 2025. For item B, council, you do have two copies and it is the top one that is,
The second one,
oh, the second one
the
that
second.
is correct, yes.
because it's with the TMRS of 20,000. That was
Do we have any incentives?
no incentive this month.
This time y'all can review, if there's anything to question, discuss, and
Okay, I have a couple of questions. May I see the American Express card? American Express.
So on the consent agenda, which item did you have questions about?
On the billing, we're on the billing right now.
On B, so the rest of it y'all can approve in a vote without, if there's no discussion, you can just take a vote to approve it. And if there's anything you want to discuss, we can pull it out of the consent agenda and y'all can talk about that separately. So if you want to vote the other two first, and then we can discuss whatever.
Okay,
if there are no discussions or corrections for item A, if I can please have a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion of approving the minutes for the June 10th, 2025 regular meeting.
I have a motion by Councilmember Place One, Everardo Castillo. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Councilmember Place Two, Eric Aranda. All in favor?
aye,
Motion passes. Now we can go on to B, review of city bills.
okay.
And there's the same marketing stuff.
Okay, yeah, I want to see it, but can you explain to me the portable toilets that we got for the graduations? Was that approved by city council or what was the item?
For the last couple of graduations, the city does get porta potties. They're like about two, I think it was just two porta potties. Because of how the restrooms were not working and apparently that graduation night, the women's restroom was could not be used because it had gotten clogged up. So they couldn't clean it, so they had closed it, so having the porta potties is a backup in case any of that happens.
And we got two, they cost $300 a piece?
I believe so. I would have to check with Rudy because he's the one who gets them through the porta potties for graduation. From
Yeah,
Joanna.
then they cost $300 a piece?
Oh,
In
six,
total,
I thought it was
6 of
two.
them?
That was two.
Okay, so about
$50 each.
100 and something, right? Okay, I just didn't know that we had approved that. If we have new toilets fixed. Okay, now go to, I wanna see,
Oh, no, yeah.
Dilly Auto Parts. I wanna see Dilly Loop. And the front door repairs for the police department.
Okay, and it was in for what?
Dilly Auto Parts and Dilly Loop. And door control was for the lobby, the door at the police department? This is front door repair, is that for the police department?
Okay. I'm looking through. Okay, so for the police department, it was. You're looking under the Dilly Blue,
Door control,
on which one?
door control. Was that for the police department? The repair, did they repair the door?
Or- it was a front lobby door, that's what we have, front lobby door repair.
For the police department? Yes,
Yes.
it was police department. Okay, thank you. Okay. Um, how about? We go that one. I have an issue here. May we have two accounts with Xerox?
Xerox, we have municipal court, PD, and we have admin. And then we have Xerox and the in agent's office.
You have
There's
Xerox, you
Xerox.
have Xerox Corporation for the lease on one. And then you have another one. There's another one.
Because
Okay,
we had did the renewals for municipal court, for admin, and I wanna say for police department.
but they're two different accounts, two different.
It's not different accounts,
Different-
it's just different leases because of the type of machine, because we have two different types of machine. We have a bigger machine in the back and a smaller machine in the front. And I believe that small machine, municipal court has the same machine as the one we have in the front. So it's, if you're looking at two leases, it's because of the different type of models
Okay,
of the print.
okay. Question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be this, but you've got here. Reserve account postage for meter. And then you're over here paying the post office.
Yes, because the meter machine is the everyday mailing, and the one that we pay at the post office, that's our blue bills. We cannot send them in through the meter. It has to be in a box and we pay out from there. Because it's a special rate for the billing, which is the blue bills that go out before the first or by the first of each month.
And the US Blue Book,
US Blue Book, that is for Public Works, and that is, I guess, tools and equipment that they get for Public Works. For US Blue Book,
okay, one more. Says parts, labor, repair, mini combo, what is that? Oh, okay, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. I still wanna see those bills. I wanna still see those bills, but I'll look at them after.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Natasha. Do I have a motion to approve the city bills?
May I move that we approve city bills as presented?
I have a motion on the table by Councilmember Place 4, Ray Aranda. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Second by Councilmember Place 3, Alicia Machado. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Department reports. I'm sorry. We do not have any incentives. Department reports, library report.
Good afternoon. For the month of June, we have a report here and we have our patron count at 187, our internet 124, our Wi-Fi users 40, the amount of students 98, visits 28, circulation 62. We've continued to get donations for our reading material. We posted a flyer that we are now having the free books, and the way that works is everything that we get that's donations that is not good for the shelves. We have a shelf in the back that they can come and get any free books there. We already put out our July calendar. It's still pending some events. I'm waiting on people to give me calls back on different events to host. Our summer reading program, we kind of finished it up. We're about to go into our next second week. We partnered with the ACE program of the Color Our World. So we'll be doing that. We had a Father's Day event. There's some pictures there. The daycare came for that. We have our St. Jude's, our Camino Real, our DLP energy services that come and use the study rooms. DLP comes every other Thursday. They're with the Immigration Center. They come and conduct their like hiring process or new hire orientation there. And we have our United Healthcare who comes in every other Monday. She's not gonna come until open enrollment for anyone who needs help with Medicaid, Medicare, or marketplace insurance. And that is what we have for this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. B, court report.
Good afternoon. Business as usual, the revenues are steadily. We didn't have any increase. We have had a couple of truancy courts. And we've done some follow-ups with some of the students and the parents that were not in compliance, but everything's being pretty good. There's no major expense for the court at this particular time. For the coming month, we're meeting with the city prosecutor, Camino Real, and the county attorney with the truants, the juvenile, to see how we can enhance and better coordinate our efforts to have the parents more in compliance and keeping the students in school, where we're trying to not so much punish as much as the students, but have the parents more accountable for the actions of their kiddos. So we're trying to get that, and hopefully for this coming school year, it'll work much better for the court. Any other questions? I'll be more than glad to entertain at this time.
Thank you, Judge Flores.
Thank you.
C, city secretary report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to inform Council that the summer youth workers have finished. We have 2 students that are completing hours owed, but they will be done this week. We had treated them last week for a luncheon to thank them for helping us this summer. Today I met with Cheyenne from the workforce. She will be sending us students this October through January, where these students will come in after school to work. Part of the program. She'll be sending in about 2 to 3 students. Then also I will have travel checks ready next week for the newly elected conference in San Antonio for July 16th and the 18th. Also, the TML annual conference will be this year, October 29th through the 31st at the Fort Worth Convention Center. Registration will open up on July 29th. Please get with me for confirmation for attendance before the 29th. And that is all that I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
D, city administrator report.
Mayor, I have an announcement from Frio Regional Hospital. You're invited as a special guest of John Houston, CEO, for the State of the Hospital Luncheon. As a local leader, we want you to learn about the state of our hospital, our expansion plans, and other exciting news about our ongoing commitment to ensure healthcare in our community continues to meet the high expectations of our citizens. This will be Tuesday, July the 29th, 11:30 to 1 p.m. at the G2 Ranch, 3516 Farm Road 1582, Pearsall, Texas.
Thank you.
I have another announcement. Let's see. This is from Dan Zinke. He's the president of the TCMA Region 8. He's the assistant city manager of City of Bernie, supporting relief efforts for Kerrville. Dear TCMA Region 8, over the past several days, many of our communities have been impacted by the historic flooding that swept through the hill country in central Texas. The devastation has been heartbreaking, and our hearts go out to the families, communities, and first responders who are navigating unimaginable loss and ongoing rescue efforts. If you're looking for a way to support those affected, I encourage you to visit and follow the official social media accounts of the city of Kerrville and other affected communities in Region 7 and 8, where they're sharing the most current information on donation opportunities and support services. While emergency response operations continue, we know the road to recovery will take time. In the days and weeks ahead, your prayers, your compassion, and your willingness to lend support will make a difference. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you're aware of specific needs in your communities that others in the region might be able to assist with. TCMA Region 8 is the strongest when we come together, and now is the time to show what strength looks like. With care and solidarity, Danny Zinke, President, TCMA 8. The other one was, we had our free tire roundup, and Rudy will expand more, but we had the trailer out there for a couple of days, and of course we had rain and stuff like that, but the trailer did get filled. We've been doing a lot of back and forth with grant administrator on the two projects that we have going, the one for the well construction to get that in line so we can start receiving funds, and also the other for the 500,000 of repairs to the water treatment plant. Let's see, William Booth came over and met with the mayor. He's the TDEM Region 6 county liaison to have the mayor sign on some important documents as the new mayor of the city of Dilley. We've had Angie Webb. She's the AMI support specialist here at City of Dilley. The pilot is installed. The software for the 5 meters that we're running is installed. And I talked to Franny earlier today, and she had a successful run with the first 5 meters. And then it's just pretty simple stuff. Let's see. We've had some communication with Nicole Black, the contracting officer with ICE. And these are questions concerning, remember when we signed up for the agreement, they had a 180-day startup plan. So they're up to about 700 residents, and now they're asking to open up another neighborhood in the center earlier than possible. So now Core Civic is getting plans together and submit them to get approval for that.
Has the money started flowing from Core Civic
So
to the city yet?
We have received the three payments for March, April, and May.
Well,
And
how
we're
much were
working on
they?
June. I believe it's approximately 72,000 per month. Let's see. We had on the GLO contract for the water well construction, we received good news. The Texas Historical Commission review under Section 106 project review has cleared for the water well construction project. So it's another step that has cleared. And that's all I have.
Thanks.
Thank you. Police Department report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So for the police department report, for the month, this past month, we had 73 total calls. We had 46 traffic stops with 53 warnings and 16 citations. Some of the things that we had going on, so we're planning a civilian response to active shooter event with the school district. We have a trainer coming in that will train all the teachers and all the staff at the school on how to respond to those types of situations coming up in August. We had 2 high-profile incidents, one of them being a murder that we had. I want to thank, our Texas Rangers, Frio County, Pearsall PD, and of course, our Dilley Volunteer Fire Department. They stayed out there the whole night, ready to assist with anything that we needed. And of course, our guys, I want to commend them for the awesome job they did. It was a crazy set of events, but we were able to apprehend our suspect within 48 hours. So I commend our officers and all the other staff that assisted with that. We had another suicide attempt that we'll be discussing here later on in another line item. Then we did also set up a donation point at the police department for the victims of the floodings in our area. We assisted with the 4th of July event. Everything ran smooth up until the end. We had a small few hiccups, but nothing too crazy. This past month, we also had 2 summer movie events as well. Those are going well. And then we are planning one last large event to send the kids back to school. And then we just continue to do our training. Our training cycle for the officers is up on the 31st of August. So we must complete all our continuing education. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief Hernandez and your department for all your help with, I know it was a series of events that occurred, and then stepping up to create that donation drive for the community affected by the floods, and of course, everything that y'all do for the community.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Public Works Department report.
Mayor and council, I have trash cans, just an update. The trash cans have been assembled. All we need to do is actually dig the holes and concrete them in the ground. So we'll be doing that pretty soon. Another one is as you know, we had a bunch of rain these past few weeks. We got weeds this high on the city right away, so we'll be doing a lot of mowing. Just so you all know.
And the mosquitoes.
And mosquitoes. We're on schedule Tuesdays and Thursdays on mosquitoes. Just an update, Frontier Fiber Optic. They already started. I don't know if you've seen those bucket trucks around town hanging the wire.
Yes.
So they're doing that phase of it. And just today I got with them and they'll be doing the directional boring underneath the ground. They're gonna be starting at the Hilltop area, all the Hilltop, all the access road from Churches all the way to Bassler Bay. So that's the first phase underground. So hopefully they won't hit none of our lines. We'll be doing a lot of locates for those. Next week, we got a Railroad Commission audit for our gas. It's scheduled for next week. So we'll be doing that on the gas department. So, and tire roundup, as Henry said, it went well. Customers filled up that truck in 1.5 days. So it was pretty good. For our citizens, it was good. Trying to get those tires out of the neighborhood.
The neighborhood.
And if you have any questions, just let me know or call me. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
G, Fire Department report.
How y'all doing? For the month of June, we have 21 calls. That puts us at 145 calls for the year. We deployed a crew to Kerrville Saturday, Sunday. We came back last night. There's another crew en route with the donations that Dilley PD established. That crew will be in Sector 4 in Ingram, doing recovery and search and rescue until 7 days, and then they get released. And then we'll send another shift until then. As of right now, that's it. We have. Okay.
Thank you, Chief. You too, to your department as well for assisting with the community events.
Thank you.
Thank you. Engineering report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On the engineering report, we've been working on the water wells, the planning and the permitting for the new well that we're gonna be putting in. We contacted the water district for this area so that we could get information from them on what's gonna be required on the permit for that new well. And then we did push that that what we did used to have an existing well there. It's just that that well there was in place before the district was created. Now that the district exists, they're wanting to go through the permitting process on that. So we're working with them on that process. On the wastewater treatment plant, we did get we contacted the agency today on TCEQ. We got the conditional approval for the release of the additional waters. The permit was for 300,000 gallons per day, and we've now permitted for 500,000 gallons per day at that location. So that's gonna be sent over to the city so that we can I guess receive it and process that. So that moved pretty good. And then the other items, I think you'll have some agenda items coming up in a little bit.
Okay,
That's all we have.
thank you. Okay, that concludes our department reports. Going on to item number 8, special announcement. Again, thank you all for being here today. Tonight, we will have the swearing in office of new police officers for the Dilley Police Department. The officers joining the City of Dilley PD are Officer Ivan Cifuentes, Officer Renee Romero, Officer Joe Rangel, Officer Danielle Negrete. Presentation of, do we want to do that first? The swearing in first? Yes.
You all please raise your right hand. And will you please repeat after me? When I point out, please state your name. I
René Romero.
Daniel Negrete.
Joe Rangel.
do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties as an officer for the City of Dilley Police Department and for the state of Texas, and will do to my best and my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the constitutions and the laws of these United States and of the states. So help me God. You do? By the power invested in me by the state of Texas and the authority, I fully swear you now as police officers with the Dilley Police Department. Congratulations to this family.
Thank you and welcome to the City of Dilley Team Department, Police Department. Next, we will have the presentation of a commendation awarding life-saving award to the following police officers and firefighters. Dilley Police Department, Lieutenant Roberto R. Torres, Corporal Michael Hernandez, SRO Isaac Garcia, SRO Gumicindo Garcia. Dilley Fire Department, Arnulfo Gonzalez Jr., Juan Solis.
Good evening, everybody. On behalf of myself, Chief Stephen Hernandez, I am honored and proud to present the Life-Saving Award the life-saving award this evening to 6 remarkable individuals who, through their swift and selfless actions on June 24, 2025, saved a man's life. Next, we will have our program director, Vanessa Myers, give a dialogue of the incident.
On June 24, 2025, officers and volunteer firefighters responded to a critical call. An individual had attempted to take his own life. When our first responders arrived on scene, they were met with a gruesome and tragic sight. The individual had sustained multiple lacerations across his body. Without hesitation, these brave men jumped into action. Drawing on their training and instincts, they began administering first aid, working as a unified team under pressure. They were soon informed that medical assistance was still 15 to 20 minutes away. In those crucial moments, they continued applying their life-saving skills, managing wounds, stopped bleeding, and stabilizing the patient to the best of their ability. Thanks to their quick thinking and relentless efforts, they were able to stabilize the individual enough to transport him to the nearby helipad. Upon arrival, they were met by the air care team, who informed them that if it had not been for their timely and effective care, the man likely would not have survived. The individual was then flown to San Antonio, where he underwent emergency surgery. We're happy to share that he is now well and on the road to full recovery.
Tonight, we honor those 6 individuals for their courage, their skills, and their unwavering commitment to protecting of life. It is my absolute honor to present the Life Saving Award pin and certificates to the following heroes.
Corporal Michael Hernandez, SRO Officer Isaac Garcia, SRO Officer Gumecindo Garcia, absent today is our Lieutenant Roberto Torres. We also have two firefighters that were not able to make it since they are in Kerrville at the moment. So on behalf of the 2 individuals, Dilly Fire is going to go ahead and take their life-saving pins and awards. First one's going to be Arnulfo Gonzalez Jr. and Juan Solis.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, that concludes our ceremony.
Thank you. I'd like to extend on behalf of myself, Mayor, and the council, gratitude and thanks to all of y'all who stepped in and provided these life-saving measures for the individual. And just again, that's why we're here, work of heart, community, and be there to service the people in our community. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank you. Council, we're going to be moving item 10 up. And that it will be discuss, consider, and act employee health insurance coverage for the upcoming year presented by Hector Vergal.
Thank you for having us. With your permission, I'd like to hand out some folders, that show you the three reasons I'm here. The renewal, the bids, and MetLife review. Thanks. This is James Vialdale. He's also with Associated Benefit Consultants.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to start off with a handout that says Blue Cross and Blue Shield. This is the after renewal that we've given the city already. If you would turn to page 7, page 5, The first is nothing more than just telling them about Blue Cross. I am very happy to tell them that we're able to keep our premium plan, the platinum plan, still with Blue Cross. That is the top of the line plan that Blue Cross offers. That is 100% hospital benefit. The deductibles went up a little bit. The stop loss went up a little bit. And the specialty visit went up $5. $10, I'm sorry. But the plan itself, it stayed the way it is. And attached also, we've got 200 alternate plans from Blue Cross. If you decide, well, I don't like this, I want to get off my premium plan and my platinum plan and go to a lower deductible, a higher deductible, they're available. This is a trend increase. In our business, this is a wonderful increase. I mean, we do this every day of our lives. We see some increase. To get a trend increase, it's just staying up with the cost of something. That's all that.
Sir, this page?
Yes, sir. That's it. That's it. That's your current benefits. It shows you that you have 2 plans. You have a PPO plan and an HMO plan. It also shows you how many are enrolled in each plan.
Where does it show us that part?
Sir,
Where does it show us how many are enrolled in the plan?
in the page number,
No, the one in the back.
page 6,
That shows who's enrolled on what plan?
you have 29 enrolled,
No,
the
not that one.
ADP or the
There
HMO, and you have 2 enrolled in the PPO. They're both
We need one.
identical plans.
We need another copy. He
Okay.
doesn't have a copy.
Let me get an extra copy. They're both identical plans. The difference is the deductibles are the same, the co-pays are the same, except one's an HMO and one's a
Appreciate it. No,
PPO.
thank you.
I don't remember giving the employees to choose which option they had. Was that ever?
No, it was an option to be able to allow the employee, if they wanted to keep a PPO, but they were gonna pay the extra.
Oh, but they're paying the.
Yeah, they're
extra.
paying the extra.
Okay,
It might be, I mean,
I thought we were paying that.
no.
So they're paying.
And there's currently 2, yeah, there's currently 2, and they pay the difference. Yes.
Makes sense now, sorry.
No, it's okay. The next handout is the action says group health insurance proposal. Take that, yes, sir, in color, and it'll give you the list of the employees and take it what? Now, this is the actual bids that we went through. You'll see a comparison. We'll start off with the same plan as the renewal, current benefits and your renewal benefits, the same plan, same rate, nothing changes. The difference is, now you can look at United and Aetna. So you'll have a comparison to the other plans. Is it worth changing? That's your call. At this time, because it's just a trend increase, why would you want to pay more and lower the plan from 100% to an 80% plan? I would highly recommend it. If we could hold on to this platinum plan for another year, let's do so. It's a good one. We just don't sell that much, the platinum plans anymore, and Blue Cross doesn't even like showing them. Cause it's, once you satisfy your deductible, $13.50, you're done for the year. It's 100% plan. So it's a good one.
paying for that now?
It's at the bottom. You have your rates. You'll have your current rates and you have your renewal rates. It's about approximately a 10 to 11% rate increase. Right at the bottom. And a 10 and 11, it's called a trend in us. That's just keeping up with the cost of healthcare.
So the individual rate is 672 currently, and the recommended plan is 745.
Employee per month.
How
So,
much the benefits would be
How much
paid?
are we paying per employee per month?
yeah,
And then we go up. And if we keep that.
Yes, sir. We gave you an actual breakdown of every product, every line of coverage, your co-pays, and your maximum amount of pockets on all, both of the plans. It's on both spreadsheets, the bid spreadsheet and the renewal sheet. So you'll see the cost for the city.
That's an increase of about $70 per individual.
Yes, sir.
And that's matches the current trend.
That's called trend. Yes, sir.
Actually, this is.
10% in today's world in health insurance is really a very fair increase.
Remember a year ago, before we put into this plan, we were paying $800.
Yeah.
I remember we had a big decrease last year.
So this is the big, so the rate increase. I personally was expecting a bigger rate increase. In fact, I mentioned that to the city manager last month. It's like, I'm sure he's gonna come with a $300-400 increase to make up the cost for this year, but that increase is very reasonable.
It was a substantial saving last.
yes.
I know in the county we paid $813 for.
Well, what are the benefits?
Of course, I don't know how that compares to this, but and it's also across the field.
Yeah. What makes this plan very, very attractive, because it's 100% hospital plan. And in this plan, because it's platinum, once you satisfy your deductible, your calendar year deductible, the rest of it's 100% for the rest of the calendar year. That's what's attractive about the plan. Then, of course, I've attached 200 other plans if you wanted to look at options, but I wouldn't change this year. And last, the MetLife plan. You have also attached that life, you have the dental, the vision, the voluntary life, STD and LTD. As of 4 o'clock, you're going to get a 7% rate increase. By the time we left at 5 o'clock, you got a no change. Everything stays the same. So James and I were able to negotiate a contract with them. They say, okay, leave it alone. Let's not rock it. You know, we don't want to lose the benefit for 7%.
Do we pay for this or the deputy tax?
No, we pay, we pay, city pays.
No change in the dental, the vision, the life, voluntary life. You only have one person on the voluntary life. But they pay for that. Thank you. Any questions?
What's the amount for the basic life?
All right, hit this page. And turn to the third page. Now I'll show you where it's at. At the very top, the basic life is 0.28. That's your renewal. And the accidental death and dismemberment is 0.028. That was showing, remember I said it was a 7% rate increase? Go to the right, at the very top, and you'll see the rate increase, 7.1. That's what we got voided, so it's a no change.
Well, what is the benefit? What is the
20,000. It's 20,000.
20,000?
Yes, sir.
Basic, right? Yeah, basic.
And with AD&D, accidental death and dismemberment. but ignore the 7.1. You're not wrong, 15,000. I got a copy of the bill. 15,000. 15,000. And then 15,000 AD&D. Actually, no, that's. So it's a $30,000 policy. It definitely not. You have a good policy in the day as the next. You know what it is. Now, the good thing about it, we don't have to re-enroll either, like we did last year. Everything stays the same. The only thing is, if an employee wants to move from PPO to HMO or HMO to PPO, this is your open enrollment period. You can do so.
Well, they're like me, I have trouble, with, you know, there's a difference between one and the other. Between an HMO and a PPO.
Yes. The PPO gives you an open market to go anywhere you want, in network or out of network. You want to go see somebody in Chicago? You can. HMO is a closed network. You gotta stay within that, you gotta pick a doctor and you gotta stay there. In your case, 29 employees have chosen to go HMO to Medford.
But it's their option though, right?
It's absolutely their option.
Yeah, because with PPO, you need a referral for everything, especially you gotta get a referral for everything, so. Little inconvenient, but. For HMO.
If you like laundry from doctor to doctor, some people do that. If they're not happy with what the doctor they chose, they can go where they want. That's the PPO. Now, with an HMO, you can change doctors, but you can do it only once a month.
And they have to be in that.
You have to be in the network, that is correct. Yes, but Blue Cross has the largest network in countries.
About everybody.
Yes, sir. Find me a doctor who's not Blue Cross. I know, I worked for 18 years for Blue Cross.
Does the employee pay on the STD and the LTD?
No, sir, I think the city pays.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's another option for life insurance, but that the employee has to pay. That's, you know,
Additional.
additional. That's like the 1 time or 2 times your salary. You select which one, but that one the employee pays. And then there's also like cancer and some other stuff. Yeah, through Colonial. So they have that,
Was that through Aflac?
It's kind of like Outback, but we've had something for it, I want to say, I believe. And I think that's information that's with Colonial, I haven't dealt with that yet. But, anything that is paid by the employee for Colonial, the employee pays it, and it gets deducted from your paycheck.
That's crazy. I'm just surprised that we pay for that. With a short-term disability and a long-term disability. I'm surprised.
Well, based on the advice of our consultant. And basically, we look at me, so go outside at renew at the percent.
A second.
Motion by Councilmember Place 5. Rudy Alvarez, second by Place 4, Ray Aranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary, if we can move,
Number
can we
20?
move number 20.
Yes.
No, we moved number 10 up. Yes. We're gonna go back to that.
So now
Number 20, discuss, consider an act on Xerox pricing proposal for City Hall.
Welcome.
Thank you for being here. So that, go ahead.
To come in to give us a price for a newer machine, because we've had that machine for a good, and we've been having
The one in the back?
problems, where the doors don't want to shut. We've repaired, we've sent in and replaced parts in it. We're still having problems, so she brought in a proposal to get an updated newer printer for the back. As well as you know, the back is where we do our major printing for our books, for meetings and stuff. That's where we do all of our copies and sorting out through the back.
So what are you gonna do with the old one?
They take it back.
So I. Yeah. And then I will come along with the free, and then I'll do the install for each person. So each person that is connected to the printer, I'll help assist with the printing and then scanning to an email or to the printer.
So this is a lease? The city doesn't own it or how?
Yes, it is a lease.
It's a lease,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
So. Question I thought, is this the only company?
No, but we did do a renewal on our contract.
That's my that's what I was just saying, I thought we just renewed Xerox, which we have.
Yes,
So
we
now-
have renewed Xerox, but
Okay,
the thing is in regards to the printer, because we have been having problems with the printer and where we can't print or it gets stuck. We're waiting, we have a call in for tomorrow.
Yes.
To come and maintenance it again, because it's not, the door's not shutting and we're not able to make the copies that we're usually able to.
And the rest of the printers you have around your county, they all are, they don't have the lease until the 27th. So this will be the last lease that you'll have that starts, and the rest of them won't be for another 2 to 3 years.
Mayor Council, we're just replacing, we're just replacing that one.
Well, we're in contract with Xerox. When we approved our contract, we're in contract with them for 5 years.
Yeah, but it's for all the machines or each machine individually? For each machine, and so they expire at different times.
Yes, that's correct.
So when they expire, then you can compare. I mean, Xerox is a good machine, but we have a Toshiba that's never given us problem. They at the office of the county. So we might do that the next time. And at least compare prices. Instead of automatic review.
Shop around. Okay.
There's no, I'm trying to think what the word is.
refurb.
Refurbished.
I'm thinking that-
No, I was thinking of a trade, you make a trade and it takes. Are we gonna get any money off of the trade?
No, there's nothing usually that's usually a lease and you
It's a
lease at the end of the lease.
We're talking $18,000.
It'll never be our.
Yeah, but you gotta keep in mind, or correct me if I'm wrong, but it includes the maintenance, it includes the supplies, if you have to replace the toners, things like that. Yeah. So it's not just the machine we're paying
Is
for.
that the sheets?
Person.
Mhm.
All right.
Do we go over 5,000 copies?
No, you do.
Okay,
Are these machines password for like each employee?
For the next two. That, but maybe like color code, only have certain amount of employees that want to do only 200 color prints per month, we can do an allowance like that. Or if you just want to have a code for only this color and then only a certain person that wants to color, we can do that as well.
You're from one.
How much did the lease increase from what we had? Is this a fair trade? Like, are we doing just same what we used to have? I mean, I know they were today competing for the front copier. But, I mean, it's needed. Perhaps we can move this to maybe stop making copies of agendas and sending it to our iPads electronically too. That would help save a lot as well, so something to consider to help out with that.
I'm glad to, since it's the staff that works with them and every day,
Mhm.
glad to let them make the decision. And whatever Natasha recommend.
Natasha shook her head. She didn't feel comfortable.
Do it, undo it.
Where do those copy machines sit at?
They're sitting in,
Office?
Yeah, right in the quarter area.
One of the libraries is totally different. These. So
Yes.
$2.15 a month for servers.
60,
Mhm.
service the
16
5
hours.
years.
Yeah.
Yes. Alrighty, if there are no more questions, thank you for coming out and sharing your information. But if there are no more questions or discussion, if I can please have a motion?
I have one question. Does that include the toner or no?
Yes.
It does include the toner?
yeah,
Okay. so
it
then-
includes all toners and in the waste,
Okay.
You can order 10 black toners or you can order 5.
So
It's
so it's not as bad as a,
Yes.
okay. Thank you.
If I can have a motion, please?
I make a motion to accept the proposal by Sheila.
Motion on the table by Councilmember Place 2, Eric Aranda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Place 1, Everardo Castillo. All in favor? Any opposed? Mr. Alvarez stepped out, so motion passes with 4 votes. Thank you.
Okay.
Alrighty, do we have Mr. Snowden available now?
So then let's get him on. Let's see. Rudy. Thing froze up over here.
No, just go to the bottom.
You're gonna have to exit out of the Microsoft first.
Yeah, and then.
I connected. Yeah. Where are we?
We are hopefully to start item 9, but are waiting to see if Mr. Snowden's available. If not, we will move to another item. Oh, I would say there he is, but it's ready.
Who's got him? Who's got his number? Tell him to get on.
Hmm.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, that's him. Just click on his name.
He hasn't joined.
Oh, he hasn't joined yet.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah. Did you get that invite? I'm moving. On my end, it says not joined.
Yes, I think he sent it up here.
Right.
But if you press the invite again, Rudy, will it send him another one?
If there's no one is in here,
No, it's a Zoom.
you what?
Zoom, through Zoom?
Oh, he's gonna be here.
Yeah.
Or since he's taken 2 years to do this study, at least he should be here. Makes sense. Oh, boy.
So you already joined, good. You think he joined? Is Jay Snowden at capexconsulting.com, right?
Oh. But if you need to join this one over there. Rudy, he's on that one over there. He needs to join this meeting here.
Oh, he's on the other one.
Yeah, send them over here.
You're on that first link we sent, I guess, Jeff. Can you disconnect there and try the other one?
It's no.
Yeah, Jay Snowden at Apex. Apex Consulting. .com. Consulting, right? .com.
Or like, I don't know.
Send it on the email.
Sure.
You can just connect it. Okay.
He's not connected, Rudy. Okay, he's not connected. We haven't accepted him.
But he said he's gonna disconnect it from over there. I don't know.
He's not connected.
Oh.
But we haven't been entered yet. He's an admin.
Oh.
Another item we can look at. Are we ready for that one? Okay, while we get the Zoom going on to invite Mr. Jeff Snowden to join us, we're gonna move to item number 11. Discuss, consider an act on resolution authorizing the resubmission of an application to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, TPWD, for a grant for park improvements.
So Mayor and Council, this is we have a deadline, August the 1st, to submit an application. It's for $750,000 grant. And to try and rehab the park, the back park. And this,
This is a different.
yeah, so the one that we had at last meeting, that was through US Congressman's office. If the funds get approved, right, we could go that route. This is with Texas Parks and Wildlife program. And it's just the deadline's August the 1st. The Rudy and I had gone to New Braunfels. They had a meeting. And they said that our plan that was presented close to 5 years ago, that's still yeah, correct. That expires in October. But, you know, we asked, okay, since the deadline is August the 1st, can we use that? And they said, yes, you can. But after that, then you would have to update your
plan.
park master plan. So this is just to get permission to apply for the.
Mhm.
So do we have? Do we need a consultant for this?
Once, if the agreement, if the grant is approved, okay, then we'll have to solicit for a consultant to help us.
So we don't have a consultant submitting the information?
We don't have a consultant on board.
You're doing it?
No, I'm doing the next one. Yeah,
Who's doing this one?
you know, we had spoken with Carlos Colina Vargas, which submitted last year, has all the plans and everything. And if you're okay with that.
But then he would be stuck doing.
But we're not obligated to until we,
Correct, just like the other grants.
yeah, well, why didn't you get somebody else to do it?
Well, we have a deadline August the 1st,
And
Right
what-
now, this is just to apply for the grant.
just to apply for the grant.
So
We
right
haven't,
now we can apply without any entity. The city didn't do it by itself.
that's correct.
Then more debt.
Um, if we can go ahead and, I know we're in the middle of a item right now, but can we go ahead and go into recess? If anybody,
We had a-
we have a council
Step out.
techno, yes,
We need a.
Yeah, that's just announce,
yes.
announce a recess and then we'll call it back to open session.
Let's call recess right now at 7:45 PM.
Hello?
We will resume in 10 minutes.
Well, we figured this out too. No? Well, we figured this out too.
Mhm.
The grants.
All right, we're back from recess at 7:51 PM. We're going to continue on item number 11, discuss, consider an act on a resolution authorizing the resubmission of an application to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, TPWD, for a grant for parks improvements. Before recess, we discussed the amount was $750,000 for the park improvements for the back park.
Is this item 11?
Yes, number 11.
Is it just one or is it two? Because there's two,
To what?
two grants underlined.
Or number 11? Oh, on the grant item. No, we're just doing the 750,
Just item 11.
item 11.
So I'll make a motion to go ahead and apply for that grant. The outdoor recreation grant.
There's no.
We have a motion on the table by Eric Aranda. We have a motion on the table
We don't
by
have a
Eric.
resolution.
Let me
Hold on.
call the meeting. Let me call. We have an item on the table. A motion first by Eric Aranda. We can further discuss. Go ahead.
We don't have a resolution to vote on. Or I can find it.
So there's not actually a resolution required
It-
to resubmit this? Really, all y'all.
It wouldn't be until we accept the if awarded.
Apply for it.
It's to resubmit the same application, right?
Yes.
When we vote on a resolution, we're supposed to know what the resolution says.
Well, there's not a resolution in this case because it.
Well, I believe that's what it says here.
No, I understand, but what you're really.
It says resolution. Discuss an act on resolution authorizing the.
Oh, this is this. Oh, okay. There is a resolution there then.
Last page, the last section, that material, the one is still in the actual resolution.
Prender el mic. Can you turn on the mic?
Just give it to you.
Okay, all right. Yeah, the last
And it
page
doesn't
of
say
that
that either.
material is the actual resolution. It's pretty standard resolution for Parks and Wildlife. Is handed out to us in the application instructions. And it is saying that was used a couple of years ago when the city submitted an application for renovation and upgrading of your Ventura Park. That, as you know, is a lot more than just a community park. It's a venue for numerous functions and activities of this community. The deadline to resubmit the application is August the 1st. About a month ago, we participated in a consultation with Parks and Wildlife. Mr. Redondo, Mr. Olivares, and myself met with the staff of Parks and Wildlife in New Braunfels. And we went over the actual proposal and the issues and discussed what happened last time, that why it was not approved, and how it could be improved and be more competitive. That was a very, very fruitful meeting that we had with Parks and Wildlife, and they encouraged the city to resubmit the application because they saw a lot of other issues that were not presented in the original application, and they realized that it has a lot more benefit than just a typical city park.
I think we have enough applications for improving our city parks. And last time, I think we had a consensus that before we move forward on anybody, we were to choose a grant writer or a consultant for any applications going forward. I have told you, or we have told you or mentioned it several times. And so since you did not follow the protocol, I suggest that we do not apply for this grant.
Mr. Arredondo, does this, going based on his concern and what we had mentioned before, is this tying Mr. Vargas to this? Is it just for us to apply for it?
So, yeah, this is just to apply for the grant. Yeah,
Well, I
so-
know, but it wouldn't be fair to Mr. Vargas for him to do the work and make the application, and then when we get the grant, if we get it, to choose somebody else to administer it.
Thank you for pointing that out.
So we have
So-
to be on the front from the first step forward.
Yes, and just I want everybody to keep in mind, we understand we're not ignoring anybody's concern, requests and so forth. And this park is something that we definitely need to get fixed. We did just go into an application with the office of the congressman that is separate from going into the Texas Wildlife Parks and Recreation. I do understand where you're coming from, and the only thing is that in order for us to apply for this, it's right around the corner. Mr. Vargas, as Mr. Arredondo said, Mr. Vargas had already been working on this for us. We've applied before. After this, we can always go in and have you mentioned, we can go forward, find another consultant. But after October, like Mr. Arredondo said, we would have to
Well,
update the projects and so
We
forth.
shouldn't be in a circumstance where we have only 2 weeks to apply. This has been out there for I don't know how long, but I'm sure it's not 1 month or 2 months or even 6 months.
And did y'all already have a motion on this?
We do have a motion.
Okay.
Yes.
We
We have.
should have died, right? There's no 1 second.
I don't think we even asked for a second.
And I haven't asked for a second. I was just stating his first. Gave Mr. Alvarez time to discuss. We're discussing. So just wanted to make sure everybody was on that.
Just so we can resolve it.
Yes.
Are there any seconds on the motion, on the initial motion that was made to approve?
Right now, I'm gonna ask for a motion at this time.
No.
A second.
A second.
Yes. Do I have a second on this motion? First motion was made by Councilmember Place 2, Eric Aranda. To accept the application, to resubmit for application. Do I have a
That's the
second?
resolution.
That's the resolution. We just got the resolution.
If I don't have a second, motion dies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner.
I see these grants as a positive for the city of Dilley, but it seems like we're always applying at the end. There's no cushion to even submit an application. We're like applying within the last 2 weeks. That's not the way we do a grant. This grant is a good grant. I mean, it's $750,000, but I think the first part is to go out and solicit for a grant writer, someone to take over the project, to initiate the project, and to go forward with the project. I don't know if we submit an application now, we're gonna be stuck with Mr. Vargas. Not that there's anything against you, but I mean, we haven't discussed continuing our service with you at this point. The last application that was submitted was years ago. So I mean, it's not like if this was a recent transaction for our park application.
Thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
sharing.
Thank you, Commissioner. Texas Parks and Wildlife is perhaps the only agency that doesn't require prior selection of the grant writer to prepare the application and submit the application to the department. All other agencies do, but Parks and Wildlife is a state agency, and they use state funds from the sale taxes to finance this program.
I move that we take no action.
We don't need a
What does
second
that
motion.
do to-
Motion
What?
dies.
What does that do to the plans that we have that expire in October? What does expire? We have to spend more money, resubmit a whole new plan.
Yeah, we would find a new
Cost the city more
consultant.
money.
You know, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm
No, I'm saying it's gonna cost the city more money,
okay, so
so.
has anyone seen that master park plan? That master park plan was completed years ago. No one even knows what's in it, so we're gonna pursue a master park plan that we haven't seen in the last 10 years.
It's been my experience that several master plans, they're expensive, they get approved, and then they sit on the shelf forever. Nobody opens them up.
When was it?
We have to do it on a case by case basis. We don't have a 10-year plan.
I
It
believe
doesn't
it's
work for us.
2019, the last one.
I
Master
think
plan,
2019, 2020.
2019, 2020.
So
Is this one where was worked on?
This was worked on in
think every
2019.
five
Or
years.
either 2019, 2020 around there. This last and we also had created a committee as well on that, but I guess it was actually the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. That's when we went into the COVID era and everything was put on
So
hold.
then what do we need to do as a council to speed up this process? Cause this is what, 6 years ago?
Yeah.
So I think we
Going
need
on
to
6 years.
be more proactive to get stuff done for the city of Dayton.
Well, I think in the last several months, we've applied for several grants for the parks.
So this one is for that one?
Yeah, so.
It's the same plan that we
Yeah,
just recently approved to go in with Congressman office.
It's
Now
the same
this is,
plan.
it's the same plan. We're utilizing that. So this is the second option in case that one doesn't go through so that we can start renovating that plan. However, council, the motion died. We won't visit this again.
Yeah.
This plan expires in October and we won't be able to use it anymore.
Right.
I was just trying to be efficient and get something in quick. That doesn't mean.
Well, it
that
should
you're
have been
gonna-
done 6 months ago.
Yes.
I wasn't aware of it 6 months ago. I went to New Braunfels last month. And that's why. when
How
I
did you
found-
become aware of it?
When I found out, because they were having a meeting in New Braunfels.
He went to the
We got a-
Texas Wildlife Recreation.
Rudy went with us, since he's over the parks. And
I call for the motion.
I didn't ask for a motion.
I made a motion.
It died.
To table,
Yeah,
I mean, to take no action on this item.
To take no action, you don't need a motion. You
Huh?
can just, there's no, to take no action, there's no motion to do that. You just. everyone
We've
can
always
stay-
made a motion to take no action on items. We just want to.
You just stay quiet and she moves on to the next item.
Okay, what was that?
If everyone just stays silent and then she'll move on to the next item, there's no need to.
You telling me to stay silent?
I'm saying procedurally, if you want to move on to the next item, you just, if no one makes any motions, then she'll move.
Yeah,
on.
the
No,
motion,
I'm
the
making a
motion died.
To take no action on this item.
But that's a motion is kind of by definition to do something, so.
I'm gonna move on.
Make a motion to deny resubmitting. But again, that would kind of just be not.
I've been doing this for over 25 years.
Yes, I understand.
Numerous.
Mr. Alvarez, I just didn't ask for a motion. The motion died. We're gonna move on to the
No,
next
I
item.
made a motion for this to take no action on this item.
That would be the same as just.
Nobody voted.
You can go ahead and do it. I'm not trying to be difficult. If you want to make your motion.
Me neither. I was just gonna move on to the next item.
That's fine. It's if, in effect, it's the same things.
Don't tell me not to, don't tell me to stay silent.
I didn't mean it like that. I was just saying that.
There's no way.
That when there's silence, we don't.
Well,
Yeah,
you
there's-
did
if
mean it.
there's no more
like that,
motions,
but
I'll
that's
take-
what you said.
Item number 12, discuss, consider and act on the city of Dilley's opportunity to participate in the Resilient Communities Program, RCP, of the Texas General Land Office and to apply for the 100% RCP grant for planning services.
Why is that?
Well, as
You're not gonna go. through
Mr.
it?
Aranda said, these planning services,
Yeah, after this one.
these grants for planning are useless.
I opened number 12.
This one.
So Mr. Alvarez is asking the same thing, that the planning Are you gonna go into details regarding when is this? What is the deadline?
Yes. Okay, so this item here is authorized to submit this grant. On this item here, not all counties qualify for this. You know, we're in the shaded area, so Frio County does qualify. It's a $300,000 grant. It's first come, first served. And it's to help with planning, with zoning, with GIS. For example, the gas department has to pay a consultant to come and help and map out, you know, where the distribution system is and all that. I mean, if you participated in this and we got awarded, the $300,000 could go towards that. Okay. The next item, and it's, we solicit, you know, you authorize us to solicit for somebody to help us apply for the grant. Now we would have to put out a RFQ in a proposal to get somebody to help us with this. It's yeah, and it's just for planning.
Which is what has been
Yeah,
asked of.
yeah. It's for building codes. Well, we already have the building codes. Council approved the 2018 International Building Codes. Any flood damage prevention ordinances, zoning ordinances. We do have our zoning ordinances that goes back to 1970, I believe. So they could help us with that. Any land use plans, any comprehensive plans. Here, I mean, we could take advantage of, you know, planning, you know, looking at the water system, the sewer system, any upgrades that, you know, that can be done with that. You know, this is money to, you know, to pay engineers to help with that. But if you don't want that, we don't have to. I mean, I just put it in there because I know I found out it's available. And then we're not locked in with anybody to do this. I have here the guide here. The application guide, you know, to help us submit for this.
And reviewing this, Mr. Arredondo, how do you plan to utilize this? I know you mentioned some things, but as city administrator, if we apply for this grant and granted it, what are your priorities of how we would utilize this to benefit the community?
Planning ahead with your water and sewer systems to make sure that you have the appropriate capacities. Any, you know, there's a lot of motors and pumps in the distribution system to, you know, strengthen that, to help you with that, with the plans for that. Later, you know, you'd come and upgrade your capital improvement plan and, you know, select, and then later you come back and get the funding for that. It's all planning.
Just to assist with you, assist the city with planning.
With the planning, yes.
Any questions, concerns? If there are no more discussion, if I can have a motion.
Make a motion to go ahead and move on this application.
I have a motion by Councilmember Place 2, Eric Aranda. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Place 3, Alicia Machado. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Can I have it clear again? All four?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
So we have 4-1, motion passes. Okay, now let's go back to item number 9. Discuss, consider, and act on gas utility rates presentation by Jeff Snowden.
Snowden. Jeff, can you hear us?
Yes, good evening.
Okay, good evening. Okay, we got your item up now.
Outstanding. Is this a good time to proceed with the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, and do you all have the hard copy of the screen, or would you like me to share the report?
Sure.
We have the hard copy, but if you could share it and put it on the screen, that would be good.
Okay. Okay, is the presentation on the screen now?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Just
you
need
Okay,
to-
sorry, go ahead. Testing 1, 2.
How about
Okay,
Hear me?
yes.
Okay, I'll proceed, and if I can answer any questions during the presentation, I'm glad to stop. So, y'all asked me to look at your natural gas rates and give you some recommendations on how you might be able to bring that system back into a more self-sustaining basis. Right now, it requires subsidy from general fund and utilities. And so, I want to start by talking about the financial performance of the system. And what you'll see here on the top line is your service revenues. 23, you're at $240,000. This year, the budget is 210. I'm actually showing that your revenues will be closer to 170. So we have a steep decline in revenue, and the reason is you're losing accounts. I'll get to that in a future slide. You'll see that your personnel expenses have gone up by about 8% a year since 2022. So you're about $123,000 for personnel benefits. And then your operating expenses have gone from $250,000 to $143,000. That $143,000 is adjusted. I pulled out a transfer to the general fund and then right size your gas purchase for resale. They're actually closer to $80,000 than $100,000 that you've budgeted. And then you do have about $52,000 capital outlays that I've restated in another area of the study. But the point of this slide is that you've got a flat line of revenues from your sales, and then your expenses they've declined slightly, but not enough to offset the revenue drop. I'm going to move on to the next slide. This is your history of gas purchases, sales. As you know, with your gas system, you buy all of your gas wholesale from West Texas Gas that you sell at retail, and you have a rate structure that provides for enough money to pay for your expenses, and it also recaptures your cost of purchased gas. If you look at the first column, your total wholesale gas purchases in MCF, you can see where that's dropped. It's actually ticked up. So from 2010, you bought 15,000 MCFs. 2024, you bought 16,100. So that's actually increased. 25 is not a good year because we don't have all 12 months. So you've got a slight increase in your wholesale purchases. Now let's look at your retail sales through the meter, which is here, metered gas sales. 2020, you sold 14,000 MCFs. That's about 85% of all of the gas you bought. So 15% unaccounted for. That's a pretty respectable relationship between wholesale versus retail. But if you look at 2024, you bought 16,000 MCF. You only sold through the meter 10,366. So you only sold 63% of all the gas that you sold. That gas is going somewhere, but it's not going through your cash registers, which are your meters. So there are some losses there that we would have to address, or we need to address. I showed that if you're able to bring your unaccounted for gas back to the 85%, which you've accomplished in the past, you have about $62,000 a year in new revenue. And you really do need it. I reached out to Mr. Arredondo and also to Fran, who runs your Encode billing system. We're going to run a report that will show us, of all your gas customers, how many have received billing for zero consumption over the last 12 months. I did the same thing in Carrizo Springs. And we learned that there was about 60 accounts that continued to pay the minimum charge but no consumption each month. And that is a pretty good indicator that they're getting free service. If they weren't getting any gas service, they would most likely come to the city and say, please disconnect. That's not happening. So I think that that's going to allow us to identify some of the free riders of your gas system. And in doing so, generates more revenue. But I think that's probably the biggest opportunity to correct this system, this enterprise fund, is to identify those customers that are getting free service. I'm glad to stop and answer questions on that, or I'll proceed.
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. This is just a quick slide on the advantages of therm billing, which is what we transitioned to when I did your last study back in 2014. This allows us to pass through the MMBTUs that you get from your wholesaler. MCF, 1,000 cubic feet, that just measures volume, but it doesn't measure the power in the gas. Sometimes you get a richer gas delivered. That's got more power, more BTU, so your customers use less of it to dry clothes, heat water, whatever they use the gas for. So we got to make sure and recover that cost. And by billing in therms, which you do, we're able to do that. Okay. Here's your history of account growth. And if you look, I go all the way back to 2010 here. If you look in 2010, you had 340 residential inside city limit customers. As of the first 6 months of fiscal 25, that's down to 226 customers. So think about it. The amount of gas you're purchasing is about the same, but your number of customers have dropped by 114 just in the residential inside city limits. That tells me there's probably some free service that's due to faulty meters or tampering of meters. There's all kinds of reasons. In the case of Carrizo Springs, when we went through this exercise, we learned that the McDonald's that serves the city, that's been there for over 20 years, had never received a gas bill, and they were one of the biggest customers. So I think there's a lot of value in this exercise in identifying these customers. You look at your commercial inside city limits, pretty stable. 32 accounts in 21, and now 31 in 2025. So really the question is on the residential inside city limit customers. How could they have declined so much, but your wholesale gas not declined? I'm going to move on to this next slide. This shows the distribution. How much do people, each customer class, pay in versus how much do they use? So in the case of residential inside city limits, they paid in 47% of all the revenue, but they used only 30.5% of all the gas. Well, I don't think that usage is accurate. I think they use more than that. And I think that's what the data shows. Looking at commercial, they paid in 47% of the revenue. They used almost 60% of the gas. Those meters, I think, are working. And there's another slide where I think when I show you that, that'll support that. Dilly Feed and Grain is also, it's your biggest customer. They provided 5% of all the revenue last year. They used about 10% of all the gas. So there is a opportunity with them. However, there was a billing issue with Dilly Feed and Grain last year that I helped Mr. Arredondo and his team repair, and that will bring that usage down. I believe they've accepted the recalculation. Is that correct, Mr. Arredondo?
That is correct.
So we've addressed that overbilling, and it's really, I think it's bad meter readings. But those numbers will change as a consequence of that correction. I want to move on to the next slide. That's just a quick summary of how you currently charge for natural gas rates. You've got a minimum charge, then you charge tiered consumption rates that I helped you put in place years ago. This is your residential inside city limits, and there's a lot of data here, but what I want to show you is back in 2010, 2011, they were billing 6.9 to 5.4 billion MTFs. And now in 2024, that dropped to 3 billion MTFs. I believe it's the answer is you're losing a lot of gas to residential. Back in 2010, you collected $30.65 per month on average for all your residential customers inside city limits. 24, that had actually dropped to $28, even though we put in a 5-year series of rate increases. So that tells me that we have some issues with metering and billing. The next slide, slide 9, shows where you stand compared to this other peer group with that offers natural gas in your area. You're the third lowest for 1,000 cubic feet. Your average usage is about 1,100 cubic feet, so that's very close to the average. You're at $23.12. This is with no purchased gas, and I'll show you another slide with purchased gas. What I want to share with you, do you see how Hondo, Poteet, Weston, and Alice are all the same at the end, at the high side? The reason those cities are all the same is all of them sold their systems to CenterPoint. And so CenterPoint has a standard rate for all city, residential, and commercial. You can see it's on the high side. But the remainder of these groups, I just completed natural gas rate studies for Three Rivers, Cotulla, Pearsall, and Carrizo Springs. So those cities are all under 5-year plans to increase rates. So you're by considering modest rate increases, I do not think you will go over the average of the peer group. I think all the rest of the peer group is already raising rates. Okay. This is the same information for 2,000 cubic feet for residential, about double the average use. You can see even there, you're right at the peer group average. So you can right now demonstrate a good value for the service in the city. Now this is your commercial. This is a breakdown of how your commercial customers behave. And you can see, I'm going to go to 2013. You had 21 customers there. By 2021, you're at 32 gas customers. And you're about the same. You've got 29. You haven't lost many. But look at their consumption over time. They're at 11,000, 12,000 cubic feet a month 15 years ago. Last year, they were at 17,000 cubic feet. So while residential consumption dropped, customer counts dropped. Commercial almost doubled with more commercial accounts as well. So when I look at that, my takeaway is that your commercial meters are probably operating correctly. Fortunate for you. But your residential meters, I think we have to study those and, as I mentioned, really look at that customer class. Here's your commercial rate comparison at 10,000 cubic feet. You can see that you're about $14 over the peer group. Peer group's at $86, you're at $100.38. This is with no purchase gas. At 20,000 cubic feet, you're again 2 ticks up above the peer group average, about $40 a month higher. Okay. This is your pro forma cash flow under your current rates. If you didn't raise rates at all, and you continued operating the system as it stands currently, what kind of subsidies would you have to provide to the system? I'm going to give you this with purchase gas or without purchase gas and with. So what I'm showing here is by 2030, next 5 years, you'll need to, if you don't do anything with the rates and the meters, you would need to be prepared to subsidize gas by about $173,000 a year. And what happens when I add the cost of purchased gas, which is about 80 grand a year? That number goes to 216,000. So the choice is, if you wanted to maintain the system as currently is, which I suspect you don't, you would really need to have the general fund or water, sewer, solid waste, some other source of revenue subsidize it, which most of the time the city wants to run the enterprise fund and utility as a standalone business enterprise that pays for itself. So that's under current rates and current metering conditions. Let me give you some suggestions on how we might address this. This is what I would propose on your residential gas rates. I'm going to exclude purchased gas to begin, and I'll focus on the 1,000 cubic feet. That customer currently gets a bill for $23.12 a month. I would like the council to consider increasing that on October 1 to $25.33. That's a $2.21 increase. And then thereafter, on October 1 of 26, I'd like y'all to consider another $2.28. In October 27, $2.35. October 28, $2.43. October 29, $2.52. So in the end, you would have adopted average rate increases on the monthly bill of about $2.36. Very modest. It shouldn't impact consumption. Okay. If you were to raise these rates to the degree I'm recommending, and the rest of the peer group were to raise their rates by 5% a year, which is a reasonable assumption. Some of them are on more aggressive increases that I helped them establish. How would your rates compare to the other cities? Well, you would still be right below the average. You'd be at $34.90 versus $35.52. So you'd be about 60 cents below the average. Okay. Now, this is a more accurate portrayal. I have to give you without purchased gas and then with purchased gas. So with purchased gas, right now the average customer gets the bill for $27.57. And I would recommend that go up about, on average, about $2.82 each year. So $27.57 goes to $30.17 in October 1, 25, etc. And by the way, all of these numbers are based on your cost of gas, which changes every month. Every month, West Texas Gas sends you a wholesale bill, and that number changes based on Houston Ship Channel charges. That's what defines your gas bill. And as y'all know, the gas market can go up or down. Typically in the wintertime, it goes up. Summertime, it drops, but it's all function of the traders. But I'm assuming $4.46, which is about what you paid on average so far in 2025. Okay. I'm going to move on to your commercial rate recommendations. So on the commercial side, right now, that customer with no purchased gas gets a bill of $178 for 20,000 cubic feet. I'd recommend that you raise them by about $15.79 in year one. And then thereafter, escalating to 17 and the 18. So over the 5 years, they would get rate increases that average $18.45 on the commercial side. How would that affect your commercial rates relative to the peer group, assuming the peer group raises rates by 5% a year over the 5 years? You'd be second to the highest. And while we're looking at this is important. I should have mentioned this before. Do you see how Hondo, Poteet, Pleasant, Alice, Divine, or all, actually, forget I said Divine. Alice, Pleasant, Poteet, Hondo are all the same. Those were all purchased by CenterPoint. So it's interesting. When you look at the CenterPoint systems, their residential rates are the highest, their commercial rates are the lowest. Do I think they'll be addressing that over the next years? I do. And when they do that, you will become much closer to the average in your commercial. But for whatever reason, CenterPoint has left these commercial rates low so far. I suspect they have to go to the PUC for rate increases, and that's probably underway now. Okay, I'm gonna proceed. This is the same forecast on of commercial rates, assuming or adding in your $4.46 per MMBTU cost to purchase gas. So they're at $2.67 now. I'd recommend average rate increases of about $27 on that monthly bill. Now, it's interesting, as we saw, commercial customers have not vacated the system. Residential have, although that's questionable. But your customer base, commercial customer base of 31 accounts has been pretty stable. So we hope these rates will keep them stable and continue to purchase gas from the city. Now, since your pro forma of your cash flows, if you were to raise the rates that I'm recommending, and you can see here, you would be about $74,000 negative by 2030, which is before you have any capital outlays. However, if you recall, if you get your unsold gas, unaccounted for gas back to the 85% you had back in 2010, you almost wipe out that $74,000 negative number, because that's worth about $62,000 a year. So you have an opportunity to raise the rates at a modest amount in line with the peer group and all but eliminate your deficit. You'll still need to fund capital outlays. Capital outlays primarily being repairs to meters, replacement of meters, and then of course your distribution lines is the big one. Currently, you got about $52,000 in the budget for capital outlays. Those are discretionary. You have to pay operators salaries, benefits every year. Capital outlays sometimes can wait depending on how severe a leak is. So it gives you some flexibility, but that is how I would suggest you go about fixing the system. I have some recommended next steps. Evaluate non-rate revenue opportunities. The other cities charge money for example, I didn't see any late charges for gas. I don't know if they're all being stored for water, but if a customer is late on the gas bill, that late fee revenue should go to the gas fund and not water fund. That'll help the fund. Every little bit helps. Same with tapping fees, meter repairs, all those things that you charge on the water side, you should consider charging on the gas side. No charge accounts, identify no charge gas accounts. I know I've repeated that many times, but it's pretty critical to fixing the system. Confirm that you're billing in hundreds of units. I think that Franny and I's exercise with Julie Feed Grain, we have confirmed that, but it's worth revisiting with residential. We need to verify actual wholesale gas costs. I've done that. It's about $80,000 a year. It's my job to take the council and staff's comments tonight, and if I need to make revisions, I'm glad to do that, incorporate those, and then ultimately I would draft a rate ordinance similar to the one I drafted for y'all back in 2014 that would provide for a 5-year series of gradual rate increases that would be automatic each year and would require action by a future city council to deviate if they chose to do so. But my deliverable would be a rate ordinance which would provide an automatic change each year based on the rates that I laid out in the presentation. And that is a high-level summary of my findings. And I want to thank y'all for letting me be of service. I'm prepared to answer all your questions. So please hit me with what you got.
Does anyone have any questions, recommendations? or
Jeff,
any-
this is Rudy.
Ready?
Eddie. So bottom line is, even if we increase the rates by about 50% over the next 4 years, and this is considering that we're only gonna spend $63,000 on capital outlay, we'll still be losing $140,000. Is that correct?
if you continue to lose 45% of the gas you buy. If you start selling all that through the meter, you wouldn't lose 137, you'd lose about 60.
But only, the other problem is that our lines are, a majority of them are like 70 years old. And we're being pressured to replace them. So if you throw that in, I would call this a very impossible situation. What would you call it?
I would, it's very, you're in a lot of challenges. You got a lot of challenges, but, well, I'm just gonna agree with you. It's a tough situation, but it's exacerbated by the fact that it looks like you have a lot of free service going out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be less challenging, less impossible if you were actually selling all that gas to the folks that are using. I mean, to lose that much gas, you would be smelling it when you went through the city.
Yeah.
You would have fire hazards because all that gas would be going up in the air.
Yeah, we have dwindling customers.
I'm going back to that same topic, but I'll stick with your line of question. Yes, sir. It's a very challenging situation for y'all with this gas system.
Yeah, because you for 2030, you estimated capital outlay of 63,000, but it'll take millions to replace those. Well, I don't remember how many miles of lines it is.
34, 27,000.
So, well,
27 miles.
Yeah.
how many miles?
27 miles.
27 miles, yeah, and I think what was it, $1 million a mile?
Something like that.
So, well, at least, you know, because you know, the rates that you were suggesting is go up by about 50% in the next 4 years, but it's still, the problem
still gonna
remains
be.
the same.
Yeah.
Accounting what?
The street repairs.
If you gotta tear up the street to get gas line to repair, to replace them.
Accounting
Yeah,
the meters, yeah.
Being very aggressive to try to replace all those lines over the next 5 years. But I mean, your point is not wrong. You've got a lot of, these systems require a lot of capital outlay. And when you have a customer base which is shrinking, it makes it, your choices are really either agree to subsidize it from the general fund or water, wastewater, solid waste, or some other cash revenue generator, or well, it's either subsidize it or just operate it at a loss, and it'll basically consume your free cash, your fund balance over time, and of course that would affect your credit rating and ability to finance other projects in the city. So yeah, you're not in the best position.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank y'all, and appreciate the opportunity to be of service.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Yes, sir. Henry, I'll call you tomorrow and we can talk about next steps.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, good evening.
The outstanding fact, even if he said we could subsidize it, we could maybe subsidize it to the tune of $150,000 a year.
A year.
But if the state is going to pressure us to replace those lines, so it's
still gonna be
there's no way we could subsidize that from general fund. And so the way I see it is, unless we sell it, which you know we didn't pass, we're supposed to find out if we could have another election. Yeah, we found out.
Can we have another, can we put it on the next election, the gas system? If we put it, we put.
Look into that. Yeah, since it just failed, I'm not sure if there's a time period where you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something we have to look in and definitely educate and let them know exactly what it entails with the selling, where we're standing, how much we have to allocate to repair the line, you know, all of that. I think that's where we,
Or another angle would be to sell it is, I mean, I don't know how much we're allowed to do that, but
Mhm.
either it's gonna be, we sell it or we close it down.
The other option, and that's what I was just gonna say, there's other cities that are just cutting their towns and quadrants and say, hey,
yeah.
this year, this section, we're shutting
Mhm.
you off. We're giving you notice that in the next 2 years, you're gonna be shut off and you have to convert.
Mhm.
And I think we should bite the bullet and give people maybe 6 months or even a year. Everybody's gonna be shut off, unless we can sell it. We had an opportunity to do that, but it missed the mark by a few votes.
I think during the election, they didn't understand.
No, I know,
And
I
I think
thought,
we need to go back and.
yeah.
Yes.
But I don't know how much we can do that. Like it says, like the mayor says, educate them that these are really the only two choices.
Mhm. Yeah, so we, I.
So, I
constantly
mean, I know
felt
we're
doing
not
that.
supposed to advocate for one side or the other, right?
No. You give them, you
We're
just
not
give the
supposed to
big picture.
advocate. In case of an election, we're not supposed to advocate for one side or the other, right?
Yeah. The fact that y'all are selling it, clearly there's support for that. I mean, there's a reason for it. It was making money in it like this, right? But trying to sell it, so the fact that it's on there at all indicates.
No, but in case of an election, we're not supposed to advocate for either for.
Like when we advertise and we're educating, can we stick to one side and say like, yes, this is, we want you to vote yes to sell this because of these reasons?
I don't know how you would.
As an elected official, you can't, that's your job
Yes.
to educate your constituents. Of course, I mean, you're gonna tell them why you want them to vote
We
that
can
way.
put out neutral information that should be allowed.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like you put out a
Pros and cons.
just by virtue of asking the public to vote for it, or.
Yeah.
That this is what we, yes.
Or how we word the proposition also. That we either
Yeah.
sell it or it's gonna be shut down in the near future.
Mhm.
I think we should be able to get away with something like that.
I do have.
It's just the facts.
I do have a question that, I mean, when you were losing 37% of our gas, it's just not evaporating. Are we reading? Or could we go out and read every single gas meter and 2 weeks later go out and read every single gas meter, whether it's connected or not? You know, there has to be connections where someone's using gas. Couldn't we do that?
I think it's the dilapidated.
Well, it could be, but at the same
But at
time,
but that amount?
but at the same time,
That's
if we
very
could
high.
just read every meter
But-
in town, whether they're connected, because I mean,
Right? I
they
mean, that
could
could
have
be one.
connected it themselves and they're getting free gas.
And that's what,
Or it's escaping.
Yeah.
yeah, he was showing Franny how to run an exception report to see the meters that just have the basic amount, like the minimum amount.
Mhm.
So I think there was 62 on there, but I'm not exactly sure. So we're still gonna go back with him to go figure some of those things out.
Yeah. And I mean, that could be definitely a first step that we take to.
I think that the
Just-
main problem is, I forget what this is, it's not PVC or something that looks like PVC. It was made out of metal. And they corroded over the last 70 years. And I think it was like
I mean, that's
1960
long.
when it was put in.
But I think the first thing would be good when the Torana says, let's check the meters, make sure that those are working properly, that nobody's getting free gas. Cause if we were losing that much gas through the pipes,
Mhm.
something would have happened already bad. So I think we're losing just either meter not working properly or not being up to date.
You mean to read the dead meters?
Yes.
Yeah.
That are not.
Well, I don't know how much time that would take, but
But I think it'll save money. I mean,
I don't think it can be saved. That's my opinion.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Anyway, Council, on the meters, I guess on a similar, I was working for a water district and they had a condition where they had maybe like a 35% loss, which is significant. And what we ended up doing with that particular water district we were working with is, a company offered to replace all of their meters into the there's the automatic readers that can be read from the office. They have to send the crew out to go read them themselves. And we ended up doing that, and that company funded the meter replacement completely upfront and the installation. And then they gave them a 1 year grace period before they had to start paying the first payment back to them. There was like $380,000 of an investment. But when they replaced all the meters, there was a lot of meters that they had on their water system that they were just charging the minimum, and they were maybe using $100 worth of water, but they were only charging them $30 because that was the minimum. The meter was no longer operating the way it should have, and so it wouldn't register anything, but there was water going through, so they had a huge loss. And then they started. Then once they did that replacement, everybody got charged accordingly to what they were using. So at least they knew that the meters were working accurately. And then during that 1 year grace period, they were saving some of the money so that then when that first year came up, they had the monies to make that payment. And then they just continued, and they've been at it for the last 5 years. But for many years, they were hesitant to go through with the meter replacement because they weren't sure they would be able to afford it or not. And now they're happy to say that they're operating significantly in the black, to where they now have funds to have for operations and maintenance, replacement of pumps, repairs to water leaks and things like that. And the water loss audit report went from like 38% loss to now they're closer to like maybe 10%, 12%. There's still leaks that happen and they have to repair, and you record those as loss, but it's not what it used to be. And so they're able to operate at a much more comfortable area. And it's just a suggestion that if there's companies out there that may be willing to replace the meters and fund it, and then they know they're going to get their investment back, plus they were charging interest. And I think the payback time that they gave them was initially 12 years. And the board at the time was worried that they would not have enough funds to pay them back. So they increased it to 15 years, and they have enough to pay them back. Plus they've have a little bit extra to put in for operations and maintenance. And that worked out pretty good for them. So it's just a suggestion on a similar. I think what you're encountering right now is you're losing a lot of water, a lot of gas through your system, and some of maybe through the meters not operating properly, or through the system itself having leaks that it's not real significant that it in just one particular spot, but in different small areas, and we're not able to capture.
20 miles, how much was it? Over 27 miles of pipe.
Well, I mean, the thing is, not only that, but now we're mandated, is it Railroad Commission who's doing the we have to start replacing these lines, X amount of lines per year. So not only are we losing $107,000, so now we're gonna have to invest $200,000-300,000 every whatever year or so into this project.
It's gonna be millions.
And we can't afford
Because
it.
They're not gonna let us do 300 yards.
Yeah, so
We're gonna
I mean,
have-
we don't have the funds
miles
to even get
here.
started.
No.
Right. Well, just wanted.
It was a thought, it was a thought.
Yeah. If the
There's a
only
lot of
problem-
difference between
if the
water
only
and
problem
gas.
with the meters, then that might be a feasible, a plausible solution, if the only problem were the meters.
But I think our.
But you also have the
But
line.
the problem is system wide.
Yeah.
They tried that in Pearsall, but they put in the meter, but it was just the meters, not the pipes and all that. And actually, it didn't save any money, because the proposal was because one person could read the whole town in one afternoon. But the main savings would come is by reducing staff, and that never happened. So.
See, the city of Pearsall is also in the same predicament. They're losing a lot of money every year on their gas. I don't know if did their election pass
I don't think so.
To sell it?
to sell?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, it didn't. Okay.
I don't know.
I thought it was.
It was,
It was
same
at the
time.
It was at the same time.
I don't think
So you
they,
don't know if it passed?
I don't think so.
So there's really not.
So let's find out first that if we can have another election.
Yes, we'll certainly look into that.
But I mean, regardless, we
Yeah.
need to go with the rate increase regardless, but
Well, see, but this is a 5-year plan, a 4-year plan.
yeah.
So it won't be up to 50% increase until 4 years from now.
Right.
And in the meantime, we're gonna keep losing that, all that money. And at the end of the term, we'll still be losing that because of the inherent problems in the pipeline. He only figured $65,000 of capital outlay. And we know it's gonna have to be millions if we're gonna keep the system.
Mhm.
And the only way to do that is to, I mean, it would go up, not 50%, but 200 or 300%.
Alrighty.
And even then, I don't know.
Great discussion, great
We-
thoughts.
This is this is an enterprise fund. It's supposed to pay for itself. But it hasn't done that in years.
Ready, do I have a motion for the gas utility rates?
Well, there was just information with them.
No.
Hmm,
I mean,
Do you-
or you can you can adjust the rates, but that won't solve the problem. I
Are
think
we
the best.
acting on, so what were we acting on here?
So what Jeff would do is if you approve, he would come back at a later meeting with the ordinance.
With the
Okay.
ordinance increasing the gas
Increasing the
rates,
The gas rates.
and it'll go up 50% in 4 years. So, what, whatever
I mean,
people are.
And that's what he proposed to us.
I think we need.
That's
to
why he asked
approve
if there
it
was a
because
recommendation of changes that we
Either way, we
needed.
need to do an increase to avoid 100% loss. If we could recoup some of that cost.
But according to this, it'll still be.
I mean, we're still gonna
100,000.
lose
We're still gonna lose
Maybe not
100,000, still gonna lose 100,000 a year.
at least.
Well,
Okay, do we have a motion?
and maybe that might spur people when they start paying more for their gas. Or we could go up 50% now.
All at once, yeah.
At one time, yeah.
Mayor, I move that we approve the utility rate presentation as presented by Jeff Snowden.
Motion on the table by Councilmember Place 4, Ray Aranda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Place 1, Everardo Castillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And just so the minutes are clear, in approving the presentation, you're directing staff and the consultant to bring back an ordinance with those
Well, I
rates.
thought, I mean, that was included in the presentation.
Yes, I know, just so it's clear that
Yeah.
there's subsequent action there.
So
Item
it'll be the
13.
4-year plan of increases.
Discuss, consider an act on authorizing the solicitation of planning services for participating in the Resilient Communities Program of the Texas General Land Office.
Where are we?
13.
Okay.
There's no tab.
So this is to solicit a professional to help us.
Yes. Any discussion on this item? All righty. Do I have a motion?
Does it cost anything?
To solicit a professional,
Mhm.
well,
That
see what kind of submittals we get and.
But their services are usually based on into the contract.
It could
or
be.
the
Right.
grants, Yeah.
if you receive the grant, then yes. Do I have a motion?
I don't believe in the plans as I've stated. If it doesn't cost us anything, I guess we could go with it, but I've lived through at least 3 comprehensive plans,
Mm-hmm.
and because we don't have the money to say we're gonna spend this much this year on capital outlay and this much next year. It's more of an opportunity thing. But
That's what we're gonna do.
It's up for
Mayor,
discussion.
May I move that we authorize the solicitation of planning services for participating in the Resilient Communities Program of the Texas General Land Office.
Motion on the table by Councilmember Place 4, Ray Aranda. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Councilmember Place 2, Eric Aranda. All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Is that a 4-1? 4 yes, 1 no? Motion passes. Item number 14, discuss, consider, and act on nomination for regional seats on TML Board of Directors. Mr. Arredondo?
So Mayor and Council, we received notification that that it's time for nominations to fill 8 regional director positions on the TML Board of Directors, Regions 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 15, for a two-year term, Region 14 for a 1-year term. Previously, these elections were held at regional meetings. Now, after recent change to the TML Constitution, they will be administered centrally and open positions. The board is comprised of 53 voting members and 15 represent each TML region. During the odd number years, the odd number regions are up for election. Terms are 2 years and there are no term limits. The new terms will begin October 31st, 2025 upon adjournment of the TML annual conference and end October 15, 2027 upon adjournment of the TML annual conference. In addition to the odd numbered regions, there is a vacancy in Region 14 that needs to be filled. This partial term will begin October 31st, 2025 upon adjournment of the TML annual conference and end November 13, 2026 upon adjournment of the TML annual conference. And I received it. I wanted to bring it to you in case anybody's interested.
So cities are getting 1 vote.
It's just a nomination, but I guess all the
Right,
cities.
I mean, we're gonna nominate, we can nominate someone,
Yes.
but then cities will get just 1 vote per city. Is that my
I don't
understanding?
know exactly, let me see. Says how to nominate yourself. Nominations must be sent to TML staff as outlined below. This is only council members, mayors, or appointed officials. And
Anybody interested?
I don't have time.
No, I've done that actually twice. Not interested. Thank you.
No one
What do you have to
interested?
do?
Ray, can you share what you have to do?
What do you have to do?
It runs the same way as like the ACOG.
Oh,
You represent your region, you attend their,
your meeting.
is it quarterly meetings? You elect the president for TML. It's the exact format as through ACOG. But you represent, you set their policies, procedures, and you hire the executive director, stuff like that. Well, I mean, if there's no one interested,
No one's interested? All right. Okay. No action? We don't need to take action or anything? Nobody's interested?
we always did.
Yeah, y'all aren't required.
No, it's not a requirement. Okay, so no interest,
No action taken.
action. Item number 15. Discuss, consider, and act on City of Dilley Park improvements. A, resurfacing the walking trail, reviewing of the quotes. B, solar light installment quotes.
Mayor and council, on this item, we have, we had brought a 3 different options for the type of materials that we could use. One of them was asphalt, the other one was limestone, and then the other one was concrete. And in those 3 different options, we reached out to some contractors to get ideas of what would be more advantageous for the city to put out into a formal bid and get actual hard prices. And definitely is the concrete layout. The asphalt and the crushed limestone, aesthetically, they look much nicer. But the price that we got from those two options was much higher than just doing like a 4-inch concrete with the wire mesh on there and then maybe some footings on the sides of that 5-foot sidewalk. The cost was significantly different. I mean, less on doing a concrete sidewalk. Now, the numbers that we were getting were high numbers to where it would require us to do a formal bid process because they're gonna need to provide bonding, insurance, those types of things. We're over the 100,000 mark. And if we're over that mark, I think the city's threshold is probably 50,000. So that we got informal pricing so that we could get an idea of which option would be best. But on the options, definitely the concrete option was the least expensive. And we would recommend that we put out a solicitation if the council wishes for a concrete path for 4,250 linear feet, 5 foot wide. And it would have, we're proposing it would be a 4 inches thick with 6 inches on the sides. So it could hold for a little bit of the erosion. And then having a wire mesh as a reinforcement within the concrete. That's what we're looking, and we're looking at prices estimated between, on the low end, maybe like 120,000, and on the high end, maybe 280,000, 250, 280. So that's kind of like the range that we were getting, and we would put it out for formal bids. So then we can then review the bids. Everybody bids on the concrete section itself. We've already determined that the asphalt and the limestone, to source those type of materials and bring them here for that type of path, is gonna be higher than those ranges. So, but it is the council's wishes, so whichever option you would prefer for us to bid out, then we could go with something like that.
Well, the concrete, if it's less expensive and it's probably more durable,
It is.
it'll last forever.
It will last many years. 30 years. I mean, it should last a very long time.
It's a pretty wide range between 120 and 200.
Well, because when you ask a contractor, some have different methods of putting it together. So we asked several just to get a range and idea, and that's kind of the range they gave me. If I don't provide you the full range and then the low ones don't bid, then we could open it up for everybody that's qualified. But because of the amount, we would also require them to have performance bond, payment bond, insurance. That way, if anything, we don't want anybody to come back to the city and say, okay, well, anything for the material, anything for concrete, anything for the steel. That would be bonded, and we would be able to go to that bonding source, pay out those, or something were to happen to the contractor, and they're not able to fulfill their commitment to the city. That bonding company would then help us to hire somebody else and finish out that contract. If, being that it is higher than the 50,000, our recommendation would be that we formally bid it, and everybody gets a set of, like basically like a typical section of what we would expect to see out there, and then set of quantities. So they would all bid on the same type of quantities, and then during that bidding process, we could then require that we have a mandatory pre-bid meeting so that they could go out into the site, physically see the site themselves, and not guess at what they may be encountering. Is that they'd be able to see, okay, this is where the sidewalk's gonna go, and from here, they can walk the whole area, and they'd already be able to see if they're gonna encounter any issues during that construction, and that would be already, placed into their bid. And then they would know that the bonding and insurance and all that would part of their bid as well.
I do have a question. So you said 4-inch, 6-inch on the side, but what about?
5 foot. I would recommend 5 foot. If that's, because normally 3 foot I feel is
too narrow and you're not able to have people walking side by side. Most everybody likes to go walking with a walking partner. Yeah, but I think 5-6 foot is ideal. We could maybe recommend that we do but maybe put on 5 and a 6.
So at this point, all we're going for is the amount of feet. I mean, that we're looking at. We're not necessarily going with the blueprint that's at the park.
No, we're kind of going with the blueprint that Kevin.
Right, but because you go out for bids, you're going with, let's say, 1 mile. That's what we're recommending. Can we still go in there and look at our park again and
We're gonna have to.
determine if that's the best route? Because I feel that there's some places that we can switch around that route to make it maybe not to where you have incoming traffic or, I think there's some ways that we could reroute that walking trail. Leave it the same length, but just reroute some,
Reroute paths.
yes.
Absolutely, with that, if we can get together with any of the city council or with staff, figure out which is the most advantageous route.
Yeah.
That when we do have a pre-bid meeting, we would be able to show the contractors, this is where the path that we'd like to go. And they would know, they would know, okay, this is where we're gonna be going through. Their bid would then be reflective of that lane. But also the materials, if it's, some areas might just have dirt, grass.
See, because now we can incorporate like the restrooms where we have the restrooms now, we could put the walking trail through there. And there's actually sidewalk that already exists. I was thinking of removing the area to where it's directly behind the swimming pool up the hill, removing that part, because that's where the entrance to the, stuff like that, if we could fix that part, but
Like figure out a different path.
just a different route, make it better accessible.
Do that.
Yeah.
Just so you know, council, concrete doesn't have to be regular concrete color, you can put.
Yeah, the
Color in there.
Mhm.
you can put it,
They could be stained, maybe do a terracotta color or do a different, different pattern.
We say 4 to 6, 6-inch footing on the side and 4 in the middle, right? Or you're gonna do.
4 in the middle, 6 up.
But footing 6 is, right? Not high to a slope like this.
No,
It's a
it
footing.
would be down, it's just to hold it together like,
Yeah,
kind of like
footing.
downward. And then on the path itself. Because our park is public park, we would have to take some measurements to ensure that it does comply with ADA slope. So we're not exceeding the slope, if we're gonna exceed the slope, then we put a ramp, that meets a ramp.
And the issues are where I just told you on
Yeah,
that ramp
Yeah,
that
it
goes
goes
up, that's where we need to reroute it,
So that may be an area that we can reroute and it'd be easier to comply with.
Yeah.
With having to put ramp, but we would take some elevations throughout the path that gets chosen. And then we could then provide, okay, we need a ramp here, we don't need a ramp here. If water is gonna come to an area and it's gonna pond there. Do we put in a pipe, just drainage pipe, if we get the water from one side to the other and let it continue. Not going over the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Most people don't walk when it's raining, but if they go right after or they go during, sometimes it happens throughout that. So do you have any questions or is this a path?
Yes.
Well, let's decide to go out for bids and why don't you get together with him, see what your ideas are?
Well, that's something that we can, I think y'all could do it, but that was my concern was that ramp, because the entrance is right there where you go into that little, I even think we should close out that little small parking space because it's just awkward, but just to reroute that area.
And dangerous too.
Yeah.
The
On the
cars
other-
are so close.
Yeah.
All right, so we decide to go out for bids.
If that's what we want to do.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll prepare a pathway and we'll go with concrete, 5 foot wide and 6 inches, 4 inches thick, 6 inches on side with wire mesh
instead of the, rebar. We did look at it with rebar, but when we go with the 4-inch rebar, not the 4-inch, the number 4 rebar at, 15 inches on center or something, it gets more expensive because just high.
Besides, cars aren't gonna go. Our cars aren't gonna drive down the
Is
thing,
it-
so.
is it for-
So it's for walking, so it doesn't need a big car.
That's another reason.
We have to put that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because cars do drive through there and we need to make sure that we, so they can last longer. Yes.
Restrooms and baseball park.
Okay.
May I
Yes,
make a
thank-
motion?
Can I have a motion, please, regarding the bid proposals?
I move that we approve our consultants engineers to go out for bids on the walking trail at the
Motion,
park, at the pavilion park.
motion on the table by Councilmember Place 5, Rudy Alvarez. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Place 1, Everardo Castillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
I noticed that the item on 15, we do have walking trail and solar lights.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to include the solar lights in the bid for the contractor to? There is some solar lights, there's different types. There's one that's like a 4-foot pedestal.
We have them already.
We already have solar lights.
Yeah.
We just have to get somebody to install them.
So they won't be overhead?
Yeah, they're like that.
They're tall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have them.
I'll leave that one.
Maybe we might be able to install them ourselves.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, we could install.
thank you. B, solar light quotes.
Okay, so
Rudy.
so we don't need to go for bids on the solar lights.
It's regarding the
That's
installation of
The
the,
installation only.
Okay.
Yeah, you received the additional bid other than the one Lori from Front Roach gave us the first time. This one is coming from Laxton Land Services out of Bernie. And what it is, the labor is 29,000. Concrete, 6,500. Labor for the light post, putting them together is 5,500. And utilizing the lift, they gotta get a lift so we can put them up once they're put together. Grand total is 43,250. 43,250. And that's where the 27 lights. 27 lights. This is the second bid that we have.
council, I remember when we went out for this and we decided to buy the lights, it was because Public Works were going to install them.
Right, but now they're saying that we don't have the public works. We don't have the staff.
We don't really have to dig those.
Well, regardless,
Mhm.
this is my thinking. We have them, let's keep them. We need to get our walking trail in before we do these lights because they're gonna be in the way when.
When they,
Yeah.
especially if we rerouted and all
Yes.
that stuff.
So we can solve that problem at a later date.
Yeah, I think we should just table this.
When
item
when
and-
Manuel goes for the seal bid, he can ask the contractor to give us a quote on those lights too.
True.
Or is there a plan where the lights are gonna go at? We're gonna wait till after the trail.
If they reroute it,
Yeah.
they have to
Yeah.
make another plan of where to put them.
It'll affect the lights. We gotta,
Yeah,
once we get the refurbished trail.
And one other note, just in case I'm not here when this comes back, these are gonna require engineering as well, the city engineer. Whether that's. You're gonna need a separate quote, in other words, from the engineer to get involved, to supervise the project. Because it's more than 20,000.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a public works, anytime you're doing public works.
All right. Do we want to table it and bring it back until,
I recommend we
Reconstruct.
table it, bring it back once construction starts and we know where things are at.
okay? We're going to table that, no action. Number 16, discuss, consider an act on City of Dili interlocal agreement with Frio County for animal control.
We have to vote on a tabled item.
No, he says no. We always did.
If you're tabling something, you need a vote on it. Yes, if you're not taking any.
No action.
You don't need to.
Okay.
Okay, so since
we're gonna table it.
council wants to table,
Yeah, the difference is if you table it, it guaranteed by law, we have to
Bring it back.
to the very next meeting. If you don't do that, then that's not a guarantee, although sometimes you can still direct staff.
B.
Bring it back when construction begins.
After, after this.
Or after the.
can I have a motion, please?
I made it.
You gotta do B now.
Let's just do no action because we don't know when we're gonna bring it back.
Okay. Number 16, discuss, consider an act on City of Delhi interlocal agreement with Frio County for animal control. Mr. Arredondo?
Mayor and council, we met with Commissioner Nakano regarding this information. And he's gonna present it, or he told us he's gonna present it to the Commissioner's Court. We wanted to present it here and revise anything that we want to revise so that he, approve it from our point of view, and then he can go and get it approved at the county level. And that's regarding ETJ services of our animal control. And I believe
Yes, and so we do have Miss
Omar is
Omar
here.
here as well. Conversation was, like Mr. Arredondo said, we did have a meeting with Mr. Cano regarding this. That needs to be revisited. I know Omar has some figures that you would like to share as well, plans, or whatever you would like to share with us, Omar. For consideration.
On the fees, it was my understanding that council, mayor wanted to do some increase on those. I got some estimates here that on that previous meeting we talked about, chief was part of it too. And it needs to be revisited by y'all if that's how far. I mean, like, we got some numbers right now, but by the way we're talking that day, I mean, it can be increased, but it's up to y'all. I mean, on that matter.
The fees for what?
The fees for from the previous interlocal agreement.
So there's what is it, $100 a year?
$100 a year.
And then $15
I think it's a per animal.
per animal.
Yeah, this is per animal, sir.
They
And then,
take how many
30
days?
days is
So we already have an agreement with the county.
But it was only for 1 year. It was back in 2023.
22. Yeah, 22.
Yeah.
And as well,
With the updated, with the the contract before was $1 per year.
$1 per year.
They never paid.
No, and they never paid it. So with that, it was sent to Commissioner's Court.
mhm.
As you can see, it was signed by then Mayor Gilbert, but it stayed. Commissioner's Court never responded or
They never approved it.
Yeah.
They never approved.
Yes.
So
It was never revisited by them, but the fees in here, this is the one that we'll talk about. The fees here, it doesn't match with what there was before, like that $1 a year. I mean, this has been. You know, that it was $1 per year, but back then when Ms. Irma was here, I searched on it because we start getting a lot of concerns from the citizens outside the city limits, and that's what we searched. And then for the last 5 years, the county failed to make the payment of $1 per year. So that passed into local agreement got void because it was not honored by their side, according to our records here. So this is where we at. If you're gonna keep those same amounts, if you're gonna are willing to work with them with the same amounts, or you want to increase it. And another thing, one issue is the fees, but the other. The other issue is, y'all can hear me?
Yes.
The other issue is the capacity. We don't have the capacity, physical capacity to hold all these animals. Basically, with the ETJs, with the annex of the ETJs, is basically almost twice the daily size, so we don't have the capacity.
So this is my question. So why is the county not providing the service? It's outside the city.
They don't have a,
They don't have a
ACO
dog
department.
catcher or an animal
At all?
control officer.
Throughout the county.
Throughout the county.
So if they're not,
Yeah.
if they don't have the service, these fees are very lenient.
Yeah.
Very,
yeah,
very
a
lenient.
lot
When we
more.
do an election, they charge us $10,000
Yes.
just to use a machine that sits there. We can't be lenient with the county. $15 a day is.
Yes, and that was discussed with Mr. Cano,
Yes.
regarding the fees, the
Let's
cost
come
it
up with
takes.
fees.
There needs to be.
And so Omar does have those fees.
Cause.
We asked him he's the one performing the duties. He knows the capacity, what it takes, how much it costs to hold the animal after so many days, what it costs, and all that. He has those fees, and I think that's what he wants to present to us so that we can take in consideration, adopt them, whatever we're gonna do before we send it over to them.
And I believe if we do go with this and the county agrees with it, it's gonna be a lot of workload on Omar to do the outside and the inside.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing.
So he
And
needs,
so we have to charge for his
he
time
needs
too.
someone else, he needs another assistant to help him
There
out.
needs to be like an on-call fee just to show up, the service fee, there has to be fees attached to
Exactly,
it.
yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, and the proposal of, from what, it went from $1 that it was not honored. And then, on the amendment, it went to 100. But those agreements was just here,
Right.
but it still was not taken over there and revisited by them.
Yeah.
But still $100 a year.
We should charge like $1,000 a year
I
plus
mean, like,
whatever animals we collect and hold and then euthanize. Most of them will be euthanized.
there was a input from Chief, if you would like
But-
to listen to him as well.
Let's work on.
Can you share
let's work
those
on the
numbers,
fees
please?
that they presented to us as this is what we want proposal to
So,
charge.
That's what he has.
So Mayor and Council, one of the things that we did discuss is, like Councilman Aranda said, we're gonna need another person. Well, the county provide the other person,
Exactly.
so it doesn't go on our,
Mhm.
on our budget,
Right,
right?
that's good.
The other thing was the capacity. He doesn't have the kennel, so provide the cement, the sewer, and all that. And they said, yeah, we could work with that. Okay, so that's why we're kind of bringing this.
Mhm.
Well, maybe
know,
$1,000 is not enough, maybe $5,000 a year.
Wait, go
plus.
ahead. Can y'all go ahead and share y'all's numbers with us, please?
Mr. Aranda, so I got with Omar here, and some of the numbers that we came up with was a $5,000 yearly charge to the county just to provide those services. That doesn't include your daily rate and your impound rate. I think we discussed the daily rate at being at $20 a day, and just an impound fee would be $50 automatically, plus your $20 a day. And disposal and dumpster fee per animal, if I'm not mistaken, was $40. But we would like to increase that number at $5,000 a year to charge and provide those services only to the areas that are in the ETJ in the county, not areas that we service with the utilities and stuff like that, not expanding other.
Because then they're gonna take advantage and send us to more person.
Negative, sir. That's why it would just be,
That's why, good
yeah.
job.
Right, we wouldn't be doing livestock.
Livestock because we don't have the facilities.
Yeah, we don't have the.
And the yearly fee, it's included there for the disposal. Because, I don't know if y'all know, at the waste plant, I have a dumpster, a two-yard dumpster that is only for that. So that costs money. It's around $126 a month, I believe. I got the notes, whenever you want. and I can
Yeah,
share
that's
it
right.
with you.
We need language in there just to limit it to canines and
Yeah.
felines.
Right, yes, sir. And like I said, that 5,000 a year cost is for Omar's, you know, for his duties. But then we also include the disposal fee of $40, you know, per animal that we may need to. And then the impound fee of $50 per any animal that we
And
pick
then
up.
make sure we collect it because apparently in the past they just ignore it.
Right, we'd have to, you know, somebody would have to stay on top of it and be billing the county for these fees.
Right.
If they weren't paying $1, we're gonna pay
Huh?
$5. They weren't paying $1.
I know, right?
Right?
Just base.
Why?
No, he just.
I mean, what is my job?
He's asking.
He does
Your
pay,
job at the
I
county.
think he
No,
just
we
does
don't pay
pay.
the bill. The treasurer's office does not pay the bill.
Oh, okay.
We pay payroll.
Oh my gosh.
Got a call. Deputy, they wanted them to go pick up an animal and horn.
I know.
No.
We done several, this past year, we did, about 2 or 3 calls. Mid part of last year about, dog attacks. There was one event on attacking a minor and another 2 more incidents. There was like severe attacks and we went and assist. But, we didn't go, not just because we wanted to go. Well, I was consulted with city officials and that was allowed. And we got the calls from, chief, the sheriff himself, and so we assisted, but we billed them. Mr. Rudy and I, we sat down and then we invoiced wear and tear of the vehicle, my time, gas. We put everything in one invoice and we came out with a number. And then we invoiced them for those 2 or 3 cases I can think of right now. And he got paid. It took a little bit of time, right? Because they don't pay you from one day to another. But they did pay this services, but it was called, they asked for assistance. I consulted it and then I got the green light. So I went, we took care of it and we got paid back for all that. But it was because it was an attack. It was this very severe, urgent situation. A life was in danger, so we had to go with previous permission, but that's the only time. Other than that, we get calls, 2 or 3, 4 calls a week, and we have them deny services for that.
The other question is, so. Are you gonna go out to the Moore area to cover the whole county or just a certain distance from the city of Dili?
Just whatever's in the ETJ, what the areas that we provide utilities for, which is like Hilltop,
Hilltop.
certain county roads right outside on 85. What Omar's explaining, those are special things, requests that we do, and if it's granted, like you said, we just charge what it is and stuff, right? But it's not like an everyday thing that we would
It's
be.
not, this is not to open.
Right,
for
this
those type
isn't
of things.
for it to open up.
At the time with the attack of the minor, it was in Moore, I believe. And sheriff's office requested the help from the Pearsall PD, but there's something there that it didn't happen. They were not working together, so they talked to us, and then that's how we got it done. The ETJs is wherever we have services, whenever they have a bill with us, that's the ETJs. If they have as far as 85 going out, and if they have water with us, we go with it. That's the ETJ.
Another approach would be so much per year plus on an event basis, because some will take you half an hour, while other cases might take you I don't know, 2 hours to.
Yeah, I mean.
So
like
it would build them each time that you have to go out on the outside of the.
What about
Yeah, you
vet,
could do that.
vet fees, you know, the bill, there's an animal that's sick, you need to take it to the vet, that needs to be included in that.
That would be billed to them.
Yeah.
We would have
Directly
to.
from the bill, from the vet?
No, the way we've been, it's the easiest way is, let's say, we have one in the county road. They have services with us. So I take the animal to the vet and it needs to be euthanized. I take care of it and they will bill us. But then we're gonna bill them and we're gonna get that money at the rate that y'all set. Not at the bed that it's gonna be, you know?
Mhm.
So I mean, it's all about those, but it's, just think about those, all those fees for the services and the capacity that, which we don't have. And not only that, I'm talking about kennels,
Yes.
all the equipment,
Mhm.
everything that is traps, all the equipment, tools, you need to double it. I have those numbers and estimate, and you're talking about several grand as well. So it's not only the facility itself, but all the equipment to perform that job. It has to be double. Like I said, I mean, I have an estimate, it's more or less the same amount of cost in Gilly is gonna be just as the same as in the ETJs. So you're basically gonna have two Gillies combined.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have to double, just
Mhm.
about double everything. Capacity and tools and equipment. One of the large, just to give an example, a large for a big dog, let's say for a German Shepherd, was going nuts out there. A trap for that size is up, he ranges about $500. We got 4, and sometimes I don't have none by Wednesday. They're all scattered here and
Mhm.
there. Same with the small ones. We are infested with people, not with dogs. We don't have a dog problem. We have a people problem. Because they were responsible. They let them dogs loose. So it is not a dog problem. It's a people problem.
It's true.
The dogs are not the problem. If you have a responsible owner, there's no.
It's all down Crawford Road and I'm animal over there.
If not,
They don't go over there.
we're infested. We're infested over there. Eagle Ford Village, right across from us. They always have the complaint. Because they just.
So technically, these are daily animals, but they're dumped in the county. So now we're gonna build a county to pick them up.
Yeah.
True.
Directive. Directive is similar.
So, I mean, I suggest, I mean, there's a lot to look at. I know
Yeah.
y'all did some work on fees and all that. I think before we can, again, this is just my recommendation that
Yeah. and
city administrator works with ACO Omar Hernandez to figure out this out and bring it back to us so that we can finalize and take everything into consideration that we discussed tonight. If we need the extra personnel, put that in there,
Bring it back in an
definitions.
ordinance form so that we just approve that. If we
Yeah.
can make final changes, then we will.
With all those updates and whatnot.
Incorporating what we've suggested here.
Yes.
Would be in the form of an interlocal agreement that once they'll approve it. county
Yes.
Approves it, then it's signed, so.
But we,
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
we need to build, the county doesn't give us anything.
And we definitely need to take everything into consideration.
They got more money than us.
So, but I know Mr. Commissioner Cano, he is wanting to work with us and get this situated for everybody in the precinct on his end. We want to make sure that we are as well. But we did express to him that it does come with a cost. It takes time for him, the capacity, everything like that. So it's not just, yes, we're gonna approve it, we can go pick him up, but now does he have the space? What is that what's the cost to expand and all that information?
With the city, think about this, just the city, within the city limits, I'm always full.
Right?
And that's full.
No, I mean, I've been,
Always full, as I've been doing this for 9+ years, and I've probably been empty for a week, probably twice. It's always busy, always full. Always. And if you're gonna double it with all the HJs,
So could we do an initial agreement that the county is gonna provide X amount of monies to upgrade this facility to expand it? Because there's no sense in entering into an agreement if we can't provide the service.
look what I'm.
Well, go ahead.
Let's just, I'm just gonna give you this, I can probably work with Mr. Rudy. Yes, not, I will work with Mr. Rudy and we can get you like a total amount. That will include fees, include facilities, will include all the tools and the equipment
Mhm.
and everything else. And then let's say you present here's 100,000, just to throw a number out there. And if they decided, yes, no, and then if they say no, if they straight up say no, why would you waste time on
You're
you?
providing a system for all.
So was the city manager being instructed to prepare
A
is the
contract.
motion been made?
An interlocal agreement, yeah.
Alrighty. Great discussion, some work to do. Definitely bring it back if council wanting to move forward.
This was supposed to be,
Wait.
spoken in the workshop that talk about that meeting, no? You
There's
gonna
any-
do this in the workshop? Or no?
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make
Have
the
a-
motion.
I have a motion that Omar get with city administrator Rudy, put a package together and present to the council for approval.
Well, we have to instruct the city manager to do that. I mean, he can do it through or with Omar, but it's the city manager that is responsible for bringing it to us.
Yeah, I mean.
But he said city
we're
manager
gonna
can
get
do
the
Well,
numbers.
he could
He
stay
did.
with you or
Say
with
that.
you.
It's
Assign it to you or whatever, but it's.
Yes, sir.
I have a motion on the table by Councilmember Place Two, Eric Aranda. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Place Three, Alicia Machado. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
May you be recognized?
Recognized, can I speak?
Oh, yes.
It's almost 10 o'clock, and since we're having a meeting Thursday. Well, I propose that we table the rest of the items and include them on the meeting Thursday.
I didn't realize it was that late.
Okay, I make a motion that we table the rest of the items on the agenda. I think a couple of days won't make any difference.
Can we isn't it from one day to the next?
Yeah, we could,
Wait.
we could reconvene.
These items have to be either taken right now or tabled for next meeting, but which it'll push it back in regards to the budget, the tax rate.
Already been posted up for Thursday.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, there are items that we can, like 23, that can be discussed.
Can
and
we
so forth.
recess until next Thursday?
No, unfortunately not. Y'all can, it is possible to go to the next
Next
day if you needed to. But yeah, it'd be tough with
They're
these
talking
items
today.
usually that's due to some kind of.
And we've done that before.
So we wouldn't have to put another thing that we
If we
gonna
recess,
continue
have
to
to.
tomorrow?
Believe, I'll double check right now, but I believe that's limited to like, if there was an interruption of the meeting, like if there was a storm came through and y'all needed to stop, you can resume the same agenda the next day. But, yeah, all that can double check.
Okay. And we can continue.
So the
this
rest
meet-
of the items, they're needed for the budget workshop,
Yes.
all of them?
It shouldn't take long.
Right, investment, and
Don't know that there's gonna be a lot of discussion.
Okay.
For these interests, yeah.
Okay.
Just approval.
Okay, how about just tabling
go-
the financial statements and investment report? For the next.
The
whatever.
investment
we need-
report will take like 2 minutes.
Okay,
Okay, number 17, discuss, consider and act on third quarter ending June 30th, 2025 financial statements.
Okay, Mayor and Council, the financial statements. Year to date, revenues, in total, 6,237,402. Year to date expenditures, 5,781,905. The major funds is the general fund, year to date revenue, 2,125,133. Year to date expenses in the general fund, $1,833,267. The next major fund, the utility fund, 2,193,413 in revenue. 2,211,153 in expenditures. On the prison fund, 758,725 in revenues, 1,154,343 in expenses. And the reason that's over is because of the issue we had out at the prison with the pump, the replacing of the casings that had holes in them, replacing the wiring, the generator that we had to have there. Jeff Snowden is helping me. He already has a file. And then he's looking at that so that we can go back and bill the prison for that work that we did. Let's see, the prison construction, 258,214. That's for that grant, the sewer treatment plant, in revenue, and 259,875 in expenses. The debt service, 723,844 in revenue. And next month, August is, or September the 1st is when we have our debt service payments. We usually have them in February, and we have them in late August or early September. And that's all on the revenue expense summary.
Next time, let's have it a few days before so we can properly analyze this. I move that we approve the financial statement for quarter ending June 30th, 2025.
Motion on the
There's no
table.
way we can analyze all these figures in
I know,
2 minutes.
I was working with Leanne through today to get them.
I know, but you still worked on it last week, so you could have it to us.
She was working on it last week too.
That's why we need a finance director who can just click a few keys and come up with these figures.
Motion on the table stated by Councilmember Place 5, Rudy Alvarez. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Place 3, Alicia Machado. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 18, discuss, consider, and act on third quarter ending June 30th, 2025 investment report.
Okay, Mayor and Council, this quarter, we don't have any interest earned reported on the certificates of deposit. The total balance there is 198,322. The prison water construction project, the total funds there at the beginning was $7,607,706. The interest received this quarter, 78,315. There was a $12,000 withdrawal. Total balance at the end of the quarter, 7,674,021. They're earning, the 3 different accounts are earning interest at 4.04%.
Any questions? Discussion? Motion, please.
I'll make a motion that we accept this quarter report ending June 30th, 2025.
Motion by Councilmember Place 3, Alicia Machado. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Second by Councilmember Place 2, Eric Aranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion passes. 19, discuss, consider, and act on ordinance number 25-08-07. An ordinance by the city of Dilley, Texas, amending the adopted budget for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024, and establishing an effective date.
Okay, Mayor and Council, there's a summary page on there and also the details on every account. But I'll go off the summary. For the general fund, the proposed changes and revenues is a decrease of 28,050. And then also in expenditures, a decrease of 28,050 for a net change of 0 to the general fund. For the hot tax fund, no change in revenues. On the expenditures, we have 126,144 for post changes. And that's driven by the extra expenditures, mainly the lights for that we purchased. The utility fund, we are increasing that due to the grant of 500,000. So we're reflecting 500,000 in revenues, and we'll reflect the 500,000 in expenditures. Once we receive the money, it's authorized, and we'll begin to spend that. There's already a plan in place, and you have approved for those expenditures. The new water well fund, and this is a capital improvement construction in progress. This is the grant, the revenues, 2.1 million in revenues, expenditures 2.1 million. And that's all for the amendment.
At our last budget amendment, I suggested that instead of presenting the whole budget, you just present what is amended. That way you don't have to reprint the whole budget, only for the things, the line items that were amended are amended. That's the way most people do it. Most local government, that's the way they do it. Instead of going through the whole, which is no way we can do it here in 5 seconds that you took.
And that's what we attached the summary.
Why isn't there no change in the hot tax?
There is a change. It's 126,144.
In total.
Because of the lights that we purchased.
No, I mean like coming in.
There's no change in revenue, just a change.
Yeah, no change in revenue.
It's just an expense that was added maybe.
There's no more further discussions. May I have a motion, please?
We're on 19.
We're
Yes.
19.
Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance number 25-8-7, an ordinance of the city of Dilley amending the adopted budget for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024, and establishing an effective date.
Motion by Councilmember Place 4, Ray Aranda. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Councilmember Place 1, Everardo Castillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose. Nobody here knows what we're voting on,
No, it's,
but
I'd like to recommend that if something's not ready by Friday, let's not
Put it
put it on
up,
the
put it-
agenda. If it's not in the packet, don't bring it to the agenda. Because we're getting information we're looking through it just to get out of here.
right.
Well, I mean, and a motion doesn't need to be made either.
And what?
A motion doesn't have to be made either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just-
Ready to vote on something? you
Yeah,
can always
if you're not
rescind.
ready, so.
If it's absolutely time sensitive, we'll let you know, and at worst, we can always do a special meeting
Mhm.
if it's really needed. But yeah, don't feel like you have to vote for something just because it's on here.
Okay, 41 motion passes. 21, discuss, consider an act on the new TMRS contribution rate 2026.
Okay, Mayor and Council, the new TMRS rate was issued to us. It's the 2026 city contribution rate. The total contribution rate for year 2026 is 8.39%. It's a very minute change from the last year's rate.
Mm.
And this is for the the retirement contribution.
Mhm.
I move that we approve the TMRS contribution rates as presented.
Motion by Councilmember Place 5. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Place 4, Ray Aranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 22. Discuss, consider an act on planning calendar for fiscal year 2025, 2026 budget and tax rate.
So Mayor and Council, this is just the proposed calendar, just with the dates when you have to do your public hearings, your on the tax rate, on the budget, and when you have to vote on it and all that. We kind of went through the dates, very similar to the past 3 years. And it falls in line with when you do the public hearing for the tax and for that's the main important. And when you have to advertise in the newspaper for 2 weeks, and the meeting notice, the 72-hour meeting notice.
You have any questions, Council?
Yes, I do. Does it go from 8/29/2025, 9/2, and then it goes back to 8/28 on your dates?
Mhm.
That's
We
what,
have to publish the tax rate before.
Yeah, it may not be a meeting, it may just be some other deadline. This is like all the deadline.
Yeah, to be,
The 8/29.
yeah.
So you go from 8/29 to September 2nd, then you go back to.
It's
August
the items that need to be completed and the dates they're gonna be based on
Okay,
when it's required.
okay.
Yeah, so the dates here are like, okay, the Friday, you have to post a 72-hour notice that you're gonna have a meeting on a Tuesday. And then the 15 days before, you have to put in the newspaper, so it's got all those technical dates that.
Okay. Just asking. I make a motion, we consider an act on the planning calendar for fiscal year 2025 to 20 budget and tax rate.
Motion on the table by Councilmember Place 3, Elisa Machado. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Place 1, Everardo Castillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 23, discuss, consider an act on capital improvement plan fiscal year 2025-2026. I
Mayor.
think we can,
Mayor and council, if you want, we can bring
yes,
this back again,
Okay.
take it home with you, look at it. This is, you're like a working document. If you want to add anything to it, you can bring it back to me, see it. Just the big thing here, the last year, the capital improvement plan for the 5 years that you approved was around $18 million. Okay, so this plan for the next 5 years is $10 million. So it actually has gone down because you have approved funding for the big project, which was with grant funding for the sewer treatment plant at the prison. And the agreement that you approved with TDCJ, they are funding the loan. So they're paying for that. Then the $2.1 million grant that you approved, that's taken off of this. And then the $500,000 for the water treatment plant improvements, that's taken off. So it has reduced the plan that was presented last year by
Well, that's what I mean with it.
by $8 million.
Capital improvements are based on the opportunity that we have because we can't buy it from general fund or even from the utility fund. But so we were managed to the $7 million worth, which we haven't spent yet, but at least it's on the drawing board.
It's on the drawing board, and then to see, okay, how can we get funding for it? For example, the chief, he's looking at cars, he's looking at grants to get cars. So we don't have to pay through debt, but if he can't, and he still needs a car, which, I tell him, hey, at least plan ahead so that council knows, hey, well, this is kind of what we're looking at going into the future. But no action needed, they can take it home.
Okay.
no action. Alrighty, now 24, adjournment. Can I have a motion for us to adjourn?
Mayor, will we adjourn?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are dismissed. Thank you very much. Motion. Meeting ends at 9:55 p.m.
It's the don't ring.
Your art.
I have it on my phone, but I can't find it.
You still have it?
I have the VHS, but I put it on my phone years ago and it's on.
That's
there, but I
it.
can't find it, but I have it.
I got that. Have the glasses.
I didn't realize it was that late. I'm proud of me. Let's see if I can read it.
Hmm?